Mic was muted. There we go. Now I'm here. Okay. Welcome to Canary Cry Clubhouse. We're going to get the show started in just a moment, maybe a handful of moments. Here I am. Oh gosh. Oh goodness gracious. We're trying this experiment where we are also streaming on Instagram live. Don't know why. Sometimes we just get these ideas in our heads that we want to try doing other stuff. Don's was setting up some Instagram live this week. Don't know if anybody was even over there. I forgot the password to the Instagram account. Anywho, I'm looking at the stream that is going out to Instagram, and it is insane. It's an insane visual. So God bless you. Anybody watching on Instagram, I don't know how to fix it. I'm trying so hard to fix it. It's just like zoomed so close to my head. And yes, as some people noticed last episode, hold on, let's put Feeding the Ducks on repeat here. Yeah, let's keep it going while we do just a little bit of tech work here, trying to make things not so insane looking. I noticed yesterday that my eyeballs on the outside of the VR headset, they're kind of drifting apart. They're kind of losing, and need to put them closer together. It's got an interesting look to it, almost like I'm looking in two different directions at the same time. I don't know. Maybe it's pathetic. Here, let me fix that. There we go. Okay. All right. Not perfectly straight, but close enough. All righty. Well, we're going to get the show started in just a second, folks. Thanks for being here. Shout out to Caretaker Dan on the YouTube. Says I'm walking, but I don't hear any ducks. There they are, he says. You need a 1-2. I don't know what that means, but thank you for being here, YouTube. On YouTube. Marty Not Sir K is here. Good to hear from you, brother. Giving guitar, 93. Oh, good to hear from you, bro. All right, let's get this show started. I have some things to say. Something to say about nothing. Let's do it. You know how this works. I'm gonna fade out this music. I'm gonna put up the art, play the jingle, and that'll be the cue. We're gonna start the show.
Called it. We got a caller. We got a caller on the line here.
What's going on, everybody? It is I, your best buddy, Basil. You know, I'm realizing, I mean, this whole show, Canary Cry Clubhouse, is, it is just a step out in faith to do the thing, to not do nothing, to just sit down, hit the button, and connect with whoever needs connecting with, including myself, every week. And, I'll say this, Gons is more of the tech guy. Not to say I can't get my little digits on a nice control board or something. He's more that kind of guy, but I realize that when I just say, okay, here we go, we're gonna start something, we're gonna do a show, we're gonna press record, we're just gonna go. Okay, don't think about it, don't get caught up in all the preparations, don't get caught up in trying to make it perfect. Just go. And I do that. And for those who are just listening to the podcast, God bless you. Thank you here. Thank you for being here on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening. But those who are watching the video, which of course is also a great many people, you see sort of my clunky, amateurish, I don't know, low-tech attempt to make like an exciting intro to the show where I play the stock music and oh no, I'm sorry. That's not stock music. Actually, the caller jingle is from Jonathan F, which is a wonderful uh, piece of production. Thank you, Jonathan F, for that. But the visuals, it's just me clicking on and off the thumbnail art that I made for the episode. Sort of this herky jerky on off flashing strobe effect, which is not necessarily good. I mean, they're not going to put this show on HBO or anything. And not to say they're not going to put any podcasts on HBO, because as we've covered recently, there are the big streaming platforms, not just streaming as in Twitch or Rumble or something like that, but like Netflix, HBO, Paramount, Hulu. They are starting to get into the business of live streaming podcasts. Now, their podcasts, of course, they reach out, they look at the culture, they've got their data, and they see very popular video podcasts. And I will forever distinguish between podcasts and video podcasts, because I am an old man who is grumpy and got started way too early, and is also influenced by Adam Curry over at the No Agenda Show, that podcasting is a technology. It's not a format. Okay, I'm getting way off track here, but podcasting is a technology. It's the RSS feed. It is the instant delivery of a file without, it's a lot of things. But nowadays, podcast is just sort of a word to mean somebody talking into a microphone on a couch. Where am I going with this? I don't know. But to the big streaming platform. They're looking around. They're buying podcasts. They're streaming those podcasts, or getting ready to, rather, on the big streaming platforms. And I don't know if I'll call it authentic. I'll be nice to myself and to the community here. My authentic, maybe lackadaisical, unique even style of visually producing the show by clicking on and off the thumbnail to cover the screen as a sort of intro animation. It's just not up to snuff. I get it. I don't know. I should probably take the call-in jingle and create some sort of amazing intro video or something. But look, guys, there's always something. There's always something to fix. There's always something to improve. Are you guys feeling that too? Because that's what I'm feeling. Feeling like, man, I look around me, I see everything in my life, whatever it is. If it's relationships, if it's work to be done on the bunker, if it's administrative work to be done within the sort of invisible, ethereal realm of navigating the empire that we live in, the bureaucracy. There's always some form I need to fill out that I haven't done yet. There's always something. No matter where I look, there is something that could use my attention, that could be improved by me giving my attention to it and try to make it better. And this may sound obvious. In fact, it is obvious. I'm not going to try to give the impression that I am peeling back the cellophane, the veil on some sort of mystery of the universe that y'all are not aware of. I'm just saying this, as a way for me to commiserate, maybe. Yeah, commiserate publicly, hang out with my buddies, you, You, dear listener, thank you for being here, whether you are here live or in the future. I need you. I'm here to commiserate. Uh, yeah. And I look around and I see, man, everything needs my attention all the time. At least that's what it feels like. Or at least that's what I've been taught. That's what I've been told. Maybe it's true. I'm not even saying it's not true. I'm in a really interesting place right now. I yesterday on Canary Cry News Talk, and I think I did it on Monday too. I made a big deal. Okay. I made a big deal. You Canary Cry Clubhouse folks, you're coming here. You're here again. If you're a listener or a producer of Clubhouse, uh, you already know this, but like the past few weeks have been really fun. It's been like a really fun, special time for me. I think it's been a really fun, special time for the show. It's been very profitable, not in a sort of earthly fiat sense, but like spiritually profitable. Lots of reaping. I feel like there's reaping of ideas, of um, lots of things, just things that have been growing maybe over the summer. It's been great. And so on CCNT this week, I broke down and I find, look, I'm trying to be casual about this show. This show is obviously very casual. Okay. It's kind of the point. It has to be. If it wasn't this casual, it would not happen. But so I'm trying to keep things casual. But on CCNT this week, I go, hey, everyone listening to me, I know the Canarium is unified and is big and is worldwide, and there is a center point of our attention on Canary Cry News Talk on Monday and Wednesdays. And that's oftentimes just what people want. That's what they need. They don't need or want anything more than that, and that's perfectly fine. But I believe I used the phrase implored. I implored everyone yesterday to come hang out and check back in on Clubhouse, whether they've never listened to Clubhouse or watched, or maybe they did and it just didn't resonate with them, to try it again. Because I was really excited. I've been having a great time on this show the past couple of weeks. And then came today. And the Lord has done amazing things for me, with me, at me, on me, around me, for going on a month now. I keep thinking it's just a couple of weeks, but it's going on a month. And I won't get into all the details. And if you're new and you don't know what I'm talking about, just check out the past few Canary Cry Clubhouse episodes where I share what God's been bringing me through. It's very exciting, and I hope that for everyone else, I pray that everyone else has their own version of that. But then I make this big deal on News Talk, tell everybody to come to the show. I implore them. I say, give Clubhouse a chance. Come on, get on over here. And I wake up today and start getting ready. And, I don't actually really know. I don't know exactly what's going to happen today. I was not given, I did not receive, or I do not have any sort of like conscious confidence in the whole big Bible study to present to you today. But don't change the channel. Stay here. Just listen to me. But if you're new to coming to Clubhouse, let me tell you this. If you're a longtime Clubhouse person, you will already know this. Sometimes, and I will say by faith, reliably, these types of days oftentimes end up being the best one. So that's where we're at. That's where we're going to go. A little bit of a weird start here to the show, but let me tell you this. We are a call-in show. This is a call-in show. It's not a news show, analysis show. There is no definition for Canary Cry Clubhouse except an opportunity for the Canary Cry family to come together and just see what God's got going on this week. And with that, it is a call-in show. Now, a call-in show is something special in that it requires people to call in. A chance, an opportunity, not only to chat, for me, by the way, an opportunity for me to connect and chat with any old Canarian out there who has something on their mind or even doesn't have something on their mind, but also a great opportunity to listen and hear and kind of get to know your fellow man, your fellow brother or sister in Christ, and perhaps lastly, but not insignificantly, your fellow Canarian. So that's what we're going to do here. If you've never called in before, I encourage you to do so. If you have called in before, I encourage you to do it again. And you do that by looking down in the description of this video here, live now on Rumble, YouTube, wherever it is. I don't think the link makes it to Instagram now that I think about it. Sorry, Instagrammers. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I'm new to this. But you'll see a link. It says call in link. And it's there. Some platforms and devices, you can just click that. Others, you can't click it. You have to copy it, paste it into a browser, answer a couple questions, give it permission to use your microphone and stuff. It'll put you into a back room where you can hang out, chat with other people in back room, and just wait for the time. the time will come. The Holy Spirit will move. We will get callers up on stage. We'll say hi. And as always, do not fear, do not fret. You do not need to have some sort of incredible, earth-shaking revelation that you need to blow all our minds. You don't need to have a question, the perfectly crafted question that leads us down a conversation revealing the mysteries of the universe. Nope, you can just say hi, and God does the rest. Okay, I'm going to put on a little bit of chapstick for a moment and remind you, of course, that we do. Okay, I have the text messages up in front of me here. The Canary Cry text message alert system. I recommend you get on it. It's very fun. You're probably not getting notifications. If you are getting notifications when we go live, that is a very rare thing. YouTube is not shy about telling us they only let about 1 or 2% of our followers know, or subscribers rather, know that we're going live. But you can get around that. Stop depending on the big tech alert system. Get on the text message alert system. Text the word canary to 877-740-3226. I will personally send you a little text when we're about to go live, and you can decide to join or not. And the fun part is you can text that number, say hi, do whatever you want. I cannot text you back. It's very expensive. But it's just a good way to stay connected that doesn't rely on like algorithms or notification settings, or if you clicked a bell someday or not, or maybe you did click the bell, but for some reason YouTube is like, we're not so sure you actually meant to click the bell. I know you thought you wanted to click the bell, but we have other things in mind for you. And so they just don't notify you. But we got a text message that came in here from 281. 281 is the area code. Texted in and says, hey, random question for you to answer on today's show. How many cats/Monties do you currently have? The emus have stolen all their attention. 281, this is very interesting. This had crossed my mind recently, especially when I ponder or contemplate the fact that Gons and I have been doing this for a very long time. There is more than a decade of lore in the community. And of course, one of our specialties, thanks to our producers, is that there's an incredible amount of backstory when it comes to art and different pieces of media that are produced for the show and are referenced on the show constantly. And a new person is sort of like a new sailor on their first voyage who is sort of tossed around by the waves and the wandering forces of nature. And they just kind of have to sit and get used to it and eventually catch up. But yes, cats, Monties. Monty, I have cats. I have had cats. I enjoy the presence of these felines. And for the purposes of our conversation here, all of their names are Monty. There's Monty 1, Monty 2, Monty 3, Monty 4. There have been cats that have passed. Monty 1 is no longer with us. There are cats that come and go. And just so you don't have to keep track of any of that, okay? I barely keep track of it. So you're not going to miss anything. You don't need to. I mean, it could be a fun project if somebody felt inspired and empowered by the Holy Spirit to like go through the long history of Canary Cry and build a like timeline or a tree, like a genealogy tree over the 14, 15 years of the Monties and where they appear and disappear and things like that. Could be fun. There's lots of, you'd have to be like a scribe, right? Not only dig through episodes and not just of this show, but of Canary Cry Radio, Canary Cry News Talk, Ravel, Joyce Beersey Theory, and also all the art over the many years. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. It could be fun. 281 says, random question for you to answer on today's show. How many different cats/Monties do you currently have? The emus have stolen all of their attention. That's true. 3. Still at 3. I've maintained 3. And I have told the story and I have joked about it for many years, but probably not recently, about being a man who has 3 cats. It's one thing to be a guy who has a cat. It's another thing to be a guy who has 2 cats. It is an entirely different thing to be a guy that has 3 cats. That rolls over into the realm of insanity. And I know this. I admit this. I'm being very vulnerable talking about it. But they are the same Monties, the same cats that have been with us since COVID are the same ones that we have. There's a little bit of a transition around 2020. A couple Monties dropped off, went to be with Jesus or whatever cats do, wherever they go. And then a couple more came in. But there we are. They are wonderful. They often jump on screen. It's a great time. One of the Monties, actually not Monty 1, but Monty 2. And in this case, Monty 1 and Monty 2, they can kind of be combined because they're both orange. Okay. They both have a lot in common and they're both the OGs. I have been working on, he's getting old. I did the math. I forgot what the math is. I think he's like 13, 14, something like that. Which I try not to think about it, but I'm like, oh, he's getting kind of old, but but he's good. He's good. He's not sick or anything. But once you start doing the math, you can kind of get yourself worrying a little bit. He's the only one. All 3 Monties are very happy in their station inside the house. They are kings of their realm. They are well behaved. Their presence adds a lot of value to the team. But the old Monty, the orange one, he yearns for nature. He yearns for freedom. He yearns to see what lies beyond the horizon of the screen door. And in my rushing about, when I'm just living my life, when I'm not I'm just accomplishing things, trying to get through the day, trying not to let people down, trying not to let things fall behind. And I'm just doing the process of making it through a week. Um, the default is to like make sure he doesn't run out the door, which rarely happens once in a while, but he'll stand by the door, he'll meow out the door, he'll watch me come in and out. When I come home or when I leave, he's like, "Oh, you're opening the door, huh? That's pretty cool. What's out there? It seems like there's some cool stuff out there, dude. Can I go look out there? No? Okay, okay. I mean, kind of like it. I'd like to see what's out there. No big deal though. Like it's not a real stumbling block in our relationship, but it's obvious that he has interest. And so recently I've started at very particular times, and I can only remember to do this, and I can only do this even in the spur of the moment thing if I slow down, if I stop trying to accomplish the next thing, if I if I get out of that sort of mechanized pattern of the drudgery of life just to get from waking up to bedtime to do it all over again. At little moments when I'm able to say, "Oh, you know what? Okay, I got a few minutes to purposefully pick up old Monty One, carry him out the door." Because I don't want him getting the idea that he himself can run out the door by his own power. I want to maintain some structure around this. I don't want him getting any funny ideas. So I pick him up, I bring him outside, and I set him outside. And the only thing that he does is immediately lay down and roll around in the dirt. He has this need, this desire, this impulse. I don't know what it is to just get dirty. He doesn't even do a lot of exploring. He does not, wander far. He does not seek anything out. He does not, get distracted by emus or mice or anything like that. Very singular focused young man, this cat, where he very patiently waits for me to snap out of it and say, "Okay, I've got a few minutes." Pick him up, bring him outside, put him there. Just rolls around in the dirt. Nothing else. And I just sit and I watch him. Sometimes I take pictures of him because, what are you going to do? It's a cat. I don't want to walk away. I don't want to take my eyes off of him. And, there's predators in the area. So I'm a little wonky about that. Uh, but it's this interesting time that I have when I remember to do it, where the only thing I can do is give this gift to this cat to bring him outside, to sate his curiosity or whatever it is, to put him on the ground. So he literally just rolls around in the dirt, gets really dusty, gets really dirty. He seems to love it. And there's nothing I can do but just watch and observe. And I'm not telling this story on the show because the Lord has given me some sort of deep spiritual insight. But it feels like there's something. There is something there. I don't know what it is. But I'm going to tell the story. I'm trusting that 281 is being obedient to the unction of the Holy Spirit to ask that question. I pray I am being obedient in answering the question, which led me to telling this story. I have no other analysis to give you. So let's just say la on that. Okay. We'll take a breath, a moment of pause. And if that means anything to anybody, hallelujah. With that, oh, I realize I don't have the chat up. Okay. Marty Not Sir K says you're a good cat dad, Basil. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, there was a lot of chat going by. Okay. I don't want to gosh. Yeah, okay, back to the topic of going through the entire archived history of Canary Cry and all of its descendants. There's some chat going on about that. Sir Darren says, bro, it would take like 80 to 120 days or 300 plus hours to watch slash listen to all of CCNT episodes at this point. Yeah, we're coming up on 1,000. Coming up on 1,000 episodes, which for us, of course, sounds crazy. Big milestone, obviously. But then when you think of, whatever, if we start comparing ourselves, there's plenty of shows who have reached 1,000. And that's just on CCNT. But at the same time, we are also approaching 200 episodes of Canary Cry Radio, which is also a milestone. It's a notable milestone, but also an embarrassing one because, of course, Canary Cry Radio, we started way earlier. Interview style show, topical show. Go check it out. I'm just going to throw this out there just to share and be transparent, and perhaps producers of the show who are interested in this and are paying attention, and I feel you deserve to at least be let in on some of the stirrings going on in the back end. Not going to say too much, but we are coming up on on a milestone: 200 episodes of Canary Cry Radio, 1,000 episodes of Canary Cry News Talk, and it was always a topic of conversation since the very first episode of News Talk about what have we done separating these two things. Many a time we have lamented over many years now that we should never have split the two things into two different shows. We should have just kept it all nice and neatly packed in one RSS feed, in one YouTube channel, in one brand, whatever. It's okay. We are being too precious about keeping the purity of the interview show, keeping it away from the news show. It has caused nothing but consternation and confusion amongst not just the population of Canarians, but of the world. Even people who have been with us for a decade and a half, they will still not get confused, but at least in writing messages and stuff, they will still mix up Canary Cry Radio, Canary Cry News Talk. And it's one of these things that if I had the opportunity, lately, the Lord has not given me permission to go time traveling, throughout creation. It was, back when I was young, I was a little bit more wily. I was a little bit more vivacious. The Lord would lead me from timeline to timeline, streaming through history and observing and experiencing God's glory in whatever part of linear time he wanted me to. It was wonderful. Not so much lately. But if I had the opportunity, okay. All right. It's always a question, right? This is just kind of like a whatever. It's just a question you think about, or you ask your friends. If you could go back in time, when would you go back in time and why? A very serious option that I would have to consider would be going back in time to 2015 or 16, when Gonz and I were getting ready to start Canary Cry News Talk outside of Canary Cry Radio. and simply ask the question, like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to separate those things? Have you really thought this through? That might have been enough, at least if not to make us make a different choice, but at least think things through a little bit earlier. But anyways, this is what we're thinking about. We're wondering. We're wondering if there is a way or a purpose or a value to finding a way to bring all of the projects back a little bit more into one stream. Not just News Talker Radio, but Joyspiracy Theory, Ravel, uh, Face Like the Sun, all of this stuff. Wide net we've cast. Is there something to finding a way to tightening it up a little bit, including everything? I don't know. We're thinking about it. Okay. Let me check here. Yeah, we are really everywhere today. So if you're someone who came to this show and if you've made it this far, so far, if you were one of the people who um, had never listened to Clubhouse, or maybe you had and it wasn't for you, and then you heard me implore you to come listen to the show, and now you're here, and you might be wondering why this doesn't seem very important. Uh, I hear you. I understand you. Go listen to the past 2 episodes, okay? This one, we'll take a little break with this one. Don't This is not what I was imagining when when I was imploring everybody to come listen to the show. And on a topic that came up in Canary Cry News Talk yesterday, Paul's thorn in the side. We don't know what Paul's thorn in the side was, but he's very clear that whatever his thorn in the side was to keep him humble. I'm kind of experiencing this now as a little bit of that. For some reason, I had it in my head that I needed to implore everybody to come to Clubhouse. It had been going so so well and such wonderful conversations. And of course, the day after I do that, I find myself in the position where the Holy Spirit says, oh, you think you're so important, huh? You think you got such a good show, huh? You think you really think that more people need this, don't you? Okay. Well, let me just why don't you just do this for an episode? Now what do you think? Now are you going to tell people that they have to listen? So, thank you God, thank you Holy Spirit. I accept this humbling moment. Not to say this episode isn't great. There's going to be people who love this. This is there's always somebody. Now, let's see here. Let me go over here. 940 texted and said, I'm here. Love the call-ins. Okay, thank you very much. Now, on that topic, and interestingly enough, timing, Sir Darren just says, Basil, I'm driving, but I will try to call in if possible when I get home. On that topic, no callers. Nobody has entered the back room. So this really is a beautiful, almost, truly supernatural humbling. And I welcome it. Okay. Sometimes we can get a bit get a bit excited. If you know me, if you've been around, you know. Sometimes we can get a bit excited. We can have some pretty big ideas. And that's great. That's kind of part of the image of God in us, right? Is part of the way God made us as relating to himself, the imagination, the creativity, the co-creativity. And before one can create, build something, make something, record something, art, a building, whatever it is. It starts in the mind, starts in the imagination. It's the gift that God gave us that separates us from everything else. It's this imagination to think of things that are not yet and then have the ability to make them so. It's the thing that gets us in trouble a lot. It's the mechanism by which we exercise our ongoing rebellion from God as fallen people and wandering children sometimes. But it's the same thing that God has equipped us with to the thing that makes us special, the special thing that we reflect of his nature is also the thing that can get us in a little hot water. Ain't that just the way? Isn't that just how it goes? It certainly is. Now, Marty, not Sir K, the chat says, Basil, that sounds like assault from the enemy. I know, Could be. Could be a lot of things. 615 in the chat says, Basil, it's you and the Holy Spirit in the boat on the lake. No ripples in the water. Calm, peaceful to hear the small, still voice. Blessings. Thank you very much. 615. I like, kind of like how the episode, by my own doing, by the way, has turned into the focus it's very meta. There's like a recursive loop. Like the focus is the show, and is it happening the way it should? It is, but not the way that I imagine. But even anyways, you get it. Kind of a little time loop thing going there. And by the grace of God, our Heavenly Father, the knower of everything, and the giver of every good gift, our provider, sufficient for all our needs, the Holy Spirit has inspired the one and only Sir David G. to call into the show. Come jump in the boat, Sir David G. Come on in. The boat's fine. Just me and David G. Gonna be in a boat. Here we go. I don't necessarily need to mention this, and maybe I shouldn't, so I won't. So here we go. Here's Sir David G. Let's bring him on up. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm great. How about you?
Doing good. Having fun. Having a good time.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I was not planning on calling in today. I was just gonna listen.
Yeah.
But just thought I'd hop in since nobody called yet. So
Well, I appreciate that. It
here I
seems
am.
like maybe that was everybody's plan. And it seems maybe by extension, perhaps that was even my plan without even knowing it. Or even better, maybe it was God's plan. We're going to go with that. Well, thanks. Thanks for calling in, keeping me company a little bit here.
For sure. Yeah.
What are you up to? What do you got going on?
I just got home from work, about to make some food. I got a big family reunion coming up next month. We're hosting at my house. So it kind of goes to like what you were saying a minute ago. I just been really getting after it. I kind of started last week, just getting the house ready and stuff. And I don't know, man, today, because I'm trying not to burn myself out. And it's like, one thing I admire about you, I promise I'll tie all this together. I'm going to start going off in all these different directions. I'll promise I'll tie it all together.
I trust.
Anyway, one thing I really admire about you is how you're constantly giving God the credit for the way things, like you're always saying, we'll see where God wants to take this, or, you attribute a lot to God. And I really admire that about you. And funny enough, I forgot it was Clubhouse Day today. And right when we were leaving work, my, one of the guys that works for me, his truck wouldn't start, his work truck. So, we're electricians. We're trying to figure it out. It's obviously an electrical issue, and we're trying to trace it down. And I start looking at my watch, and I'm like, oh man, my plans for today kind of got screwed up because of this, which I'm not complaining. It was just I'm
Yeah.
helping somebody, right? And so anyway, the thought came to my mind is like, well, maybe today, how do I say it? Maybe there's a reason this is happening, right? Maybe this is God in some way trying to tell you, okay, maybe why don't you take a break today? You've been working kind of hard, you know? Um, and so that's kind of where I am today and why I find myself calling in right now. Because every other day since last week, I've been coming straight home and work until like 7 o'clock at night,
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Right.
and so today, because I already had plans to come home and do all this other stuff, and because of that work truck incident, it's like here I am, and I'm
Yeah.
calling in. So
Amen.
just to kind of confirm, your way of thinking is like, sometimes you have plans, and God had His reasons for doing certain things in your life.
I know. It's amazing. And it's so funny because, of course, as believers, we intellectually know this, right? It's one thing to intellectually know and then to actually experience it. That's been a big thing for me the past month or so is like experiencing this kind of new level of faith. I don't know, kinda like, I feel like Paul here. I'm not trying to boast. I don't wanna boast about myself. If anything, I'll boast about my weaknesses, but just to share my experience, which I've shared now little bits and pieces of over the past couple weeks, that exact thing, like, even as simple as what you're talking about. You're going about your day, you have an idea what your day is gonna look like, and then something goes wrong, and you go, "Well, shucks," and when that usually is a bummer or anxiety, even if we don't get mad or we're not, like, freaking out about it or something, there's always that perspective of, like, "Well, this did not go according to plan." And it's a whole 'nother thing to actually experience, no, "Oh, this is the plan. This was God's plan for me today. I don't understand it. I don't know why, but it just is, and I will reserve my judgment." And, a funny story about that, yesterday, for those who caught Canary Cry News Talk, I had a hard out. I had to go, and I kinda we didn't cut the show short, but, I kinda cut the show at the end there because I had to go. I had to go to a doctor's appointment, and this doctor's appointment, I've been trying to make it to this appointment for maybe 2 years. This is like a 2-year process of trying to go to this specialist. No, not for any big reason. Nobody be scared or anything. There's nothing serious, but just trying to be responsible and go to the specialist, which I was supposed to do in 2024. So it's this whole process. And I finally got to the point where it was scheduled at 4:30 yesterday. The show was going. I had to cut the show, had to run out the door at 3:30. Was trying to get out at 3, but cut the show off the show at 3:30. And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm late. I gotta make it. I gotta go. Gotta go." And I just went into straight Terminator mode, baby. It just like, boom, get my documents, do this thing, whatever. Just like going, just no anxiousness, just pure flow. Getting my shoes, getting dressed, feeding the animals, get my things, lose the keys, find the keys, get in the car, get going, go, go, go. And I'm finally on the road. And part of this day was I got to go to this doctor appointment, and then I got to go to a friend's birthday party. Wonderful friend, celebrate the birthday party. And I go, here I go, executing this extremely busy day, getting the doctor's appointment done, going to the birthday, be a good friend. Booyah, baby, let's go. And I'm about 10 minutes down the road, and I realize I made a mistake. And that mistake was that I had eaten a snack in my Terminator mode after the show to get out the door. I grabbed just a quick snack and shoved it in my mouth. And for this doctor's appointment, I was supposed to not eat anything. So in my perfect execution of getting to this doctor's appointment on time perfectly, I was so proud. I realized that I had mindlessly sabotaged it, and I couldn't do it. It was pointless. I'm like, man, isn't that funny? That is hilarious. I thought I was doing so good, and in me doing awesome, I just mindlessly had a snack and boom, ruined it. Now, immediately as this occurs to me, the second this occurs to me, I get a call from someone who says, "Hey, I had a birthday present shipped to your house for this person. Did you get it? Can you bring it to the birthday party?" And I did not know about this. This is the first time they called me. So the second that I learned that I had ruined the plan to go to this doctor's appointment, somebody says, "Actually, basically, you got to go back to your house." Now, if I hadn't eaten the snack, I would not have turned back for the present. I would say, "Sorry, I got to go to the doctor's appointment. I've been trying for 2 years. Got to go." But because I had just realized I ruined it, I'm like, "Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll go get the present. I'll bring it to the party." And I do. And my sort of like really intense, perfectly timed, very proud of myself execution of this very busy day turned into this very leisurely, like, "Welp, all right, I'll go get the present and I'll just wander on over to a birthday party. And this doctor's appointment is just whatever it is." What a funny thing, God. And of course, for most of my life, and even still today, this would have been a huge bummer. Even just the like disappointment in myself for doing such a silly, mindless thing, like eating a snack when I shouldn't have. Like I should have known. I should have kept that in mind. Ugh, I really burned this one. That was bad. That was just totally gone. And so I turn around, I get the birthday present, I go to the birthday party. Nothing really extraordinary about the party except that it was a wonderful, calm time with wonderful, cool friends. And it was this little, it was like it felt like a middle school pool party. We like went to their parents' house and went to the pool their parents built when we were children and just like hung out by the pool. Very calm, very cool.
Awesome.
But the birthday present that I had brought ended up being this humongous deal and like this like almost like closed the circle on a lifelong kind of narrative. It was like this mind-blowing the details are not important, but just the present that I did not buy, that somebody else bought, gave to them. I just was the deliverer of it. Was like not just the highlight of the party, but like the highlight of our lifetime of friendship. Basically, it was like this incredibly special moment. And so it's just another example of like, God, you really are at work in ways that I just cannot comprehend. And even when I think that I am at my best, like executing an amazing plan to be a responsible adult and, do this thing, even when I think I am at my best, I do something silly, I ruin it, I'm humbled. But in the end, it turned out to be way more important that I messed it up and, this Holy Spirit plan played out. And I'm just mind boggled by it. So I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but I mean, that's just kind of like when I'm lucky and when I'm in the zone and when like I'm paying attention, life just kind of goes this way and it's amazing, but it's so easy to miss it. And we're sort of even programmed to miss that. But once we It's just something. There's just a slight turn. I've been explaining it. I said it earlier in the show on something else, but there's this. It's like God has given us a gift. A metaphor. Here's the metaphor that I make. Like when I was young, I got the Nintendo 64. Love it. World changing present. And I remember this very special feeling every time I got a new Nintendo 64 game. You know, when you're 12, 13, this is like really important when you get a new game. And I remember holding the game in my hand when, like, my parents gave it to me at a birthday or Christmas, and I would hold it in my hand, and it had the cellophane on it, right? The shrink wrap. And I remember this feeling of like, I have this. I own this. My life is different now that I possess this gift in my hands. But there was a separation because it's a video game between holding it and having it in my hands versus actually having it unwrapped and putting the game in the console, right? You can own a video game cassette or CD or something your entire life, and you technically own it, and that's awesome. But it's different if you never actually put that thing into the game console and play the game. It's just a very slight difference. You know, you own it, you have it, the gift is yours versus actually playing the game, interacting with the gift, right? And one image that God's given me over the past month or so that is just sort of related in all of this is what it felt like my experience a couple weeks ago on the airplane story. What it felt like was I finally, in my whole life of knowing God, following God, loving God, being a Christian, having the ups and downs of life, you know, that is the journey of being a believer, a human being, fallen being, trying to align with God. My entire life, I had been holding the video game in my hands, shrink wrapped. But what happened finally was I just took the shrink wrap off. Just very simple, very easy, no strain. Although sometimes shrink wrap can be kind of tricky, but no strain, very easy, just a tiny invisible film on the gift that God had given me. And it transitioned, at least my heart, between holding the game in my hands and now actually accessing it and playing the game that God had given me, right? Does that make any sense? It's I mean, this is the thing with like heavenly things and talking about God, right? We can really only talk about it in um, these sort of images. But does that make sense, or am I being crazy?
Definitely. I think that's why Jesus spoke in parables because
Yeah,
it's a, we're separate, right? But when you speak in language of somebody else's personal experience, like, so the imagery you create with what you're saying, right? I have my own imagery in my mind of
yeah,
video games, receiving gifts, things like that. So I already have some type of understanding of that. Um, so yeah, when you speak in an analogy, a parable like that, yeah, I think you're better able to relate to someone, and it explains things in a way that they already have language in their mind for.
right.
So yeah, that's a great story. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I know, and it's inexplicable. I can't even really go. I mean, I could expound on the metaphor. Like even now, I think like there's something to owning a game, even if it's shrink wrapped in your hands, because there's a social aspect. Your friends have the game, you get to have the game, you say you have the game, you can talk about the game, you feel like you're in the club with your friends who all have the game, but then it's if you never play the game, like it's a little different. I don't know. It's just this whole thing. So I,
Hmm.
and I only take the time and energy to share all of this in this incredibly sort of loosey goosey casual way, which I'm blessed to have this show for that specific purpose. Because I just have to believe that not, again, not for me to boast about my experience with God, but that it'll mean something to somebody. And this I want this for everybody. That's what it is. And I hope me giving this testimony, might send some people down that route.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to have these types of uh when you come to an understanding like that, so I understand your excitement about it completely, because it's I've been there.
Yeah,
I haven't been getting much of that in this season of my life, but
yeah,
I've been there.
right.
Um and so I don't really know what to. I've
No,
got
no,
all
no.
this stuff in my
You know,
head that I want to express about, but it's just,
you need a,
I
a
don't know.
metaphor about being a kid and getting a video game and unwrapping it. It sounds like. Let me ask you a question, because you said something earlier
Mhm.
that um maybe this will, I don't know, give us some access to something. But you mentioned earlier about how your life, you're kind of in the zone, getting a lot done. The experience of something going awry, and that, recognizing that, saying, "Okay, God, this is kind of a gift." Um, and for those who have been tuning into Clubhouse for a long time, we have been enjoying hearing about your men's group.
Mhm.
We got to talk about it before, got to talk about it during. It's been such a great testimony for myself and everybody else to hear this story. And very similar to myself, uh, which of course everybody knows, I love to give my own examples of everything, about being so excited about the past couple weeks and having so much to say, and having such wonderful deep opportunities to share with the Canarium, and then getting excited, telling everybody, you got to come to Clubhouse. And then the time comes today, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I actually have anything to say necessarily. I think it's interesting because when you call in, I kind of automatically think like, oh, let's hear about the men's group. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
But it seems like you kind of found yourself a little bit in a similar situation to me, which is like, I don't actually have anything specific to say, to say about this, right?
I really don't. I mean, the men's group is going pretty well.
Yeah.
Um, it seems like we really have our core,
Hmm.
right? The same guys who show up every week, which is good. I mean, that was to be expected. Um, but this last week, I was um, I was just kind of asking everybody, okay, so we're here and we talk, but I feel like we need a mission,
Mm,
right? I feel like we need to be doing something. Now, is that just my own, feeling about it? Am I being led in that direction? And so
right.
I started probing, just asking the question, like, what do you guys think we should be doing? And the church I go to has three pastors, and he's one of the core group, the men's group. And so he was saying, well, I mean, if you think we really need a mission, he's like, well, then our mission should be to bring more men into this group. He's like, there's lots of men out there who are hurting and they're lonely and they're going through these things. And he's like, we need to be out there trying to find them and bring them in so
Hmm.
we can work out our problems and this and that. And I said, yeah, I mean, it really resonated with me. Because in my mind, I'm thinking more temporarily. We need to be out, you know, cutting people's yards and fixing people's houses and doing all this stuff.
Right.
But he's an older gentleman, so his take on it took on more of a spiritual tone, right? Because I'm thinking we need to be looking after people's physical
Right.
needs.
Very practical action
Yeah.
item.
Yes, and it brought me back to this place like, oh, I'm here for spiritual reasons, right? I'm not here. I mean, yeah, we can. I mean, I have the skill. If somebody needs help, I'll go help them. That's not the
Yeah.
problem. But
No,
the overarching mission should be more spiritually based,
yeah, and I love how it's focused on like just being with other dudes, like just being there. This is kind of not getting so focused on the mission of achieving and more being the fellowship aspect, like the fellowship for fellowship's sake, which is kind of what I
Right.
told myself before this show. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And I'm like, you know what? It's just fellowship for fellowship's sake. It's just that's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. That's what we're called for. I have this joke with myself when I'm having a hard time getting going or doing something on the property. I will put on repeat the Home Depot theme song. If that rings true to anybody, it's a 30-second song. You can look it up. It's on Spotify. Just look at Home Depot theme song. I would play it here, but it would probably get me, copyright strike or something. But it goes, just like very industrial, like DIY. And if you remember the commercials, there's the guy, their motto is just like Home Depot, where doers get more done. Boom, boom. And so I kind of use this as like a thing to hype myself up when I need to do a chore, which is kind of silly. And maybe I'm just like going insane or something, but give it a try. If anybody needs some encouragement to try to like get working on a project, slap on the Home Depot theme song and go, and then in your mind, say out loud, like, where doers get more done. And then you're at it, baby. You get that going. Put it on repeat, play it for 10 hours. Whatever you're trying to do, you'll get it done. But then it became a little bit of another joke. So we're 2 layers deep on this joke now, okay? I'm letting you guys on some like really deep personal inside jokes here. Because like you said, sometimes things got to get done. You got to do it. And it's hard. But it feels good and it must be done. Other times, that's not the case. And so I've taken recently, in moments where I just need to be for a second, in moments that I can't fill up with doing stuff, it just for whatever reason, I put on the Home Depot theme song. I'm just like alone in silence with this song going. And instead of going, where doers get more done, I say, where beers get more beans. Which is stupid and makes no sense. I admit this. Where beers get more beans. The absurdity is the point. But I think you all understand the message, which is like sometimes it's not about doing. Sometimes it's just about being. And in the same way that I have to do this weird, funny, like little hype up ritual to get a chore done, I use that exact same concept, the exact same song, just change it a little bit to get myself hyped up and committed to doing nothing, to just existing. Now, if Home Depot wants to give me some money to like maybe do a campaign or like a PR thing so they can kind of, we covered the spiritual luxury branding yesterday in Canary Cry News Talk, where companies are like realizing that they're trying to what they should do is sell like spirituality and meditation and stuff instead. Maybe the Home Depot can do like a brand shift to be a little bit more, spiritual sounding. Look, you got my email, Home Depot. Just hit reply on all those things I've sent you. But I'm open to that.
They could be the sponsor of Basil's Bunker.
Somebody's got to do it. I mean, if that's what God wants, I do not need to hold fast for any reason of pride not to take sponsorships from Home Depot for the Beers Need More Beans campaign.
That's good stuff.
So that's what we got to do, man. It seems like that's a lesson for all of us here.
Well, and something that came to me last week, as far as like getting things done, doing things around the house, all this little stuff that keeps adding up because it's just like, one more thing. It came to my mind about being a good steward and seeing all of this. Sorry, I'm trying to eat and
Yeah, no worries.
talk at the same time.
Don't fret.
But all of this was given, everything in your life and everyone's life is given to you by God.
Yeah.
And, how are you stewarding that? Are you being a good steward of that? And I don't know if it lines up with the, bearing your talents or whatever, but I don't know. That's kind of what motivated me last week to really like dig in and get started on getting all this stuff fixed before
Yeah.
everybody gets here. Because not just for them, but it was a way for me to be, in a way, obedient to God and be a good steward of that which He has given me.
Totally.
So
yeah. No, I love it, man. That's so good. Yeah. And by the way, don't let me keep you. Just don't feel
Oh
you need
no,
because I'm meandering. But
no, I kind of do too, so it's fine. I think that's why we get along.
Yeah, right on. Okay, good. Yeah, man. I think that's good. I think that applies to everything in my life right now. It applies to this exact episode and everything leading up to it. And so I'm just so blessed to have you as a buddy, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Well, good luck doing and get more done. And but also good luck being and get more beans. All right.
Yeah, you too, man. That's great. I'm gonna use that now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. God bless, buddy.
God bless.
We got another caller coming in. I'm going to say hi. We'll see what's up. All right. Peace.
All right. Later.
Why not, folks? Why not? Why not? Here we go. We got another caller. A wonderful caller. We got the one and only Monica from Natural Liberty Podcast. Let's bring her on. She's got video activated. She's in the garden. We get the point of view from a piece of dirt on the ground. This is a very fun POV. Thank you, Monica. How are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you, Basil. How are you?
Good. You're
Good.
out in the garden.
I'm
you're
pulling the grass. It's out of control.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I got in trouble yesterday because I let the grass get out of hand.
Oh my God. You get scolded.
I'm being a good steward. What's that?
Did you get scolded by the HOA or something?
Well, by the husband. So I mean, I think he's the property manager technically.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
I'm trying to honor him and be obedient, and so I'm doing the work.
That's very good. And you're calling in at the same time, so you're making everybody happy here.
Yay! I missed your opening because I was picking up my milk today from the milk lady. So I missed all your opening, but is it okay if I bring up last week's show and Psalm 23 and all that?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, cool. Okay, so at our church about a month ago, the kids had their vacation Bible school, and their theme was Psalm 23. So that has been on my mind all month, really, since last month. And there's a song by Ellie Holcomb that is a rendition of Psalm 23, and it's really nice, and I love it. And I realized when I was trying to repeat the psalm that I would confuse the order because of this song. And I thought, oh, well, that's really strange. So I need to learn it and I need to memorize it. And then after everything you talked about last week, I sat down and I spent 3 hours on Psalm 23, which was a really a really long time. I have a study Bible too that I really love, and it took me to when David goes before Saul and he says, "I'm going to take care of this Goliath guy for you." Right? Who's this uncircumcised Philistine, who's saying
Yeah.
all these things about the living God? And Saul says to him like, "You're just a boy. You can't you can't go against this giant. Like he's been a warrior from his youth." And
Yeah.
David says, "I have been keeping sheep for my father. And if a bear or a lion came and took away a sheep, I would chase after it. And I would rescue the sheep from its jaw. And then I would grab it by its beard and I killed it."
Right.
And I really focused on the word keep. I've been keeping my father's sheep. To keep is to retain in one's possession. A shepherd doesn't just watch his sheep, he
Yeah.
keeps them. And I really felt like, wow, God, it's true. Jesus told us, "I'll leave 99 and rescue one who falls in a pit, even if
Yeah.
it's the Sabbath day." Like,
Yeah.
you know, and he's promised us that once we're with him, he's never going to let us go. And it was such a beautiful reminder of his faithfulness and how good he is. So then yesterday, I was all kinds of excited. I had seen this post on Facebook about an organic farm that's about an hour and 45 minutes away from me that was having like a tour, and they were going to have speakers and that kind of thing. And it happened to be my day off. So I got up early, I got all my chores done, and I started driving down the road. And I thought, sweet, I'm going to make some content, and try to promote my show or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I make this dumb little video about how excited I am or whatever and put it on Facebook and share it with all my friends. And the Google Maps takes me to a small engine machine repair shop. I'm like, this is not an organic farm. What's going on around here? So there's this old dude. He's working on something. I pull up, say good morning. Well, okay, these people used to own the property. And turns out Google Maps takes people to his machine shop all the time. So he gives me directions to the farm. And you know how old people are. "Oh, drive up this way and turn left, and then you'll see this thing, and you're going to turn this way." And I was like, okay, well,
If
that's,
you see the tree, you've gone too far.
yeah, but I mean, okay. He says, "It's about 3 miles. And then you'll see this road sign, and you'll turn and you'll go." Okay, I can do this. I have a terrible sense of direction. Number one, I get lost very easily. It's not good. So I start driving down the road. This is not right. I'm lost. And I thought, uh-oh, this isn't, I better call the farm. I'm going to pull over and I'm going to call the farm. The event is starting in like 8 minutes. I'm going to be late. Oh man, what a bummer. Okay, so this really nice woman answers the phone. We're chatting and I tell her my situation and she says, "Oh, well, the event's not until tomorrow." No. What? No, I'm so sad. How can this be? No, I was so looking forward to this. I really
Yeah.
wanted to be there. Oh no, this is so sad. I'm so upset. So she's very nice. She gives me her husband's phone number and everything so I can reach out to him later. And she tells me I could drive by the farm, but I'm not going to see anything. Just some fields. And she tells me kind of where I am and where they are. So that's great. And I realized in that moment that the Lord leads us in the right directions and Google Maps sometimes does not. I'm so glad that I trusted my gut and called this woman and found out that it was really tomorrow. I was out in the middle of nowhere. Part of the road had been completely washed away in the recent rainstorms that we've had. I mean, I drive a RAV4, so it's pretty good on, gravel road, whatever. It's okay. But if it had been muddy, I might have been in trouble.
Yeah.
And it just was so funny. So I made a quick video and said how I'd been thinking about Psalm 23 and the Lord is a good shepherd and Google Maps is not. It leads me in the wrong direction, you know. It just was, it's so bad.
Was
And
this
I realized
this morning, you said?
it was
This
yesterday. It was
happened
just,
yesterday?
yeah, it was yesterday. And so then what happened was I thought, how did I get the day wrong? Like I had to register for this event.
Yeah.
How did I get my days messed up? Well, the post I'd seen on Facebook that someone else had shared, they had said, oh, join us on Wednesday, July 9th at this farm. And I checked my calendar and I was like, sweet, Wednesday's my day off. I'm going to go. What I didn't realize is Wednesday's July 8th.
Right. Yeah.
Thursday was July 9th. And so 2 lessons. So
So
I
did
spent,
you go? Did you go today?
no, I had to work today.
Oh, you couldn't go to the event at all. Oh,
No, I completely didn't get, but then it gets weird, right? I text the farm owner, Bob, because I thought, well, I still want to meet this guy and see if he'll go on my show. He
yeah.
has an experimental farm and he has a greenhouse underground at his house.
Cool.
So it sounds really cool, right? And I want to meet him. Well, he sees my last name and he says, hey, are we related? Because my grandma's last name is McAnally. What? I know. So, isn't that weird?
I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, and to a degree, again, this is what we're talking about. If if the event was when and where you thought it would be, would you have made this sort of connection with this guy? Probably not.
No, I would have used my legal last name and not my husband's last name. And
Yeah.
he wouldn't have known. So
Yeah.
that in itself is like really funny. And then I went to the cafe and had breakfast, which was great. And I met this old woman at a greenhouse yesterday afternoon who's from the Netherlands.
Ooh.
And she said she's very lonely and she has no friends.
Oh.
And I talked to her for an hour at the greenhouse. And if I was out of town, I would not have had an hour with that old woman. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds kind of like my story yesterday with the doctor's appointment and the birthday thing. I mean, God had plans for you that have been in motion for longer than you even realized to get you out on the road, to get you in the area, to get you moving, to meet this nice lady who needed somebody to talk to, and make this connection with the farmer man, and who knows what'll come from that. But isn't that beautiful? Isn't that
it is
beautiful?
beautiful.
You know what's funny is even when I tell my own story of this, and by the way, I am here joining with you in the delight of God's plan for you unfolding here, as just so you know, I am totally here. But it's the kind of thing when I step back and think, does anybody want to hear my story about the doctor appointment thing? It's like it's just nothing, right? It's just mundane. It's just kind of how life goes, and I'm not necessarily unfolding the mysteries of the universe for anybody or anything like that. But it's kind of been what God's been bringing me through lately. Is like, no, 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 no. This is it. This is the point. That you're in it. When you recognize this, you see it happening. It's happening all around you. Every step. That is walking with God, realizing it,
Yeah.
knowing,
Mhm.
keeping it in mind, because it's easy, and we're all very good at doing this retroactively, right?
Mhm.
We have a crazy week. And we sit down on Saturday and we go, oh my gosh, that was a crazy week. Look how this rolled into this, which affected this. And then I met this person and that did this. And you can kind of sit there like on the Sabbath and be like, wow, isn't that amazing how that all unfolded? And I didn't even know it at the time. And it's great. Like that's one level. But then there's another level, which is like, no, when you're in it, as
Yeah.
it's happening, you're like, well, this God's doing something here in the
He's
most
doing-
mundane, interesting way. And it changes it's like changes your moment by moment experience of life, from a sort of retroactive narrative history that you tell yourself of the past week to
Mhm,
like presence, to
mhm,
just presence with God here
mhm.
now. And even the most mundane, frustrating, weird little things of life. And that's kind of very special. And it makes my mind go to, one thing, it kind of came up a little bit uh last week. But I did some more reading on it this week, and in Hebrews, and I'm not trying to make too much of a discovery or big deal about this, but talking about this very slight, again, it's just unwrapping the cellophane on the gift. It's just this very simple, very thin, invisible thing. It's just a very tiny step to the left perspective change, even between being good and being like, wow, God orchestrated my whole week to do the thing, to actually living it presently as it's happening, as the things are happening. And it makes me think of Hebrews 5. It's kind of in between Hebrews chapter 5 and 6.
Mhm.
This is Paul writing to the Hebrews, of course, and he's kind of like telling the Hebrews awesome things about Jesus. He's like, Jesus, uh, he's the high priest, and he's relating it to Aaron, and
Mhm.
he's brings up Melchizedek. He's like,
Mhm.
let's see here, verse 5. So also Christ did not glorify only when called to it by God, as in fact Aaron was. Uh, so also Christ did not glorify himself becoming high priest, but the one who glorified him was God, who said to him, "You are my son, today I have fathered you." As also in another place, God says, quote, "You are priest forever in the order of Melchizedek." And he's kind of getting into this. He's kind of working himself up into a frenzy. You can see it throughout the book, right? Because he starts with very basic stuff. And I've noticed this with Paul in a lot of the letters, in First Corinthians, Second
Mhm.
Corinthians, stuff like that. And he'll start out very simple. He's like, "Hello, nice to see you. I can't wait to see you. Sounds like you guys are going great. Praise Jesus. Uh, Jesus died for our sins, and we are his church, and this is great." And he's kind of laying out the basics. And then a couple chapters into each book, into each letter, into each book, he starts getting a little worked up, and he starts going like, "No, you don't understand. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you things, but like you guys don't get it. You're
All
too
you want is milk. Why
you're
don't you
too
eat
far
this
behind."
meat?
Yeah, right. And this Hebrew 5 thing here, he says, although he was a son, he learned obedience through the things he suffered, talking about Jesus.
Mhm.
And by being perfected in this way, he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him. And I can I feel in myself when I get this way, and I see it in Paul here, and he's like starting to cascade into these like bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper mysteries he's trying to share with the Hebrews. And he says, and by being perfected in this way, he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him. Of course, talking about Jesus. And he was designated by God as high priest in the order of Melchizedek. And when he brings up Melchizedek, it's interesting because he's like bringing up an ancient, deep Hebrew mystery.
Mhm.
Melchizedek is a mysterious figure to the
Mhm.
Jews at the time. Like, they have explanations for like Abraham, they have genealogies
Mhm.
of their all the tribes, all the things. It's very logical, it's very well documented. But there's this guy Melchizedek that shows up, and Melchizedek, is this big mystery, even at the time, even now. It's like, who is this mysterious Melchizedek that appeared to Abraham? Because, of course, Abraham is the father of the faith. He's the father of all nations. He's the guy. We love this guy. This guy did it all. But before our main guy, Abraham, was anything, a mysterious figure shows up with no parents, no sons, no daughters, no genealogy, no nothing, almost out of thin air, this high priest Melchizedek. And remember, Abraham was not even really introduced to Yahweh yet. Abraham, the father of the faith, who's responsible for all of Judaism, and by extension, Christianity that comes after that, there was a time before he knew any of this. And it was this mysterious figure, high priest Melchizedek, who comes out of nowhere and gives Abraham the lowdown on God and what's going on. And then Melchizedek just disappears. So for the people that Paul is writing this letter to, the Hebrews, they're like, when he brings up Melchizedek, they're like, oh, you're going pretty deep here, Paul. Mysteries, like even our most learned rabbi, even the men who even the Levites, even our human high priests today, they spend their entire lives thinking and praying and wondering about the mystery that is Melchizedek, right? So he starts referencing this unsolved mystery in the Hebrew, and he's getting worked up, and he's trying to explain Jesus, and he's like, Jesus is like Melchizedek. And that's when we get into verse 11. On this topic, we have much to say, meaning, hey, before I go any further with this whole Melchizedek Jesus thing, and it's like him taking a breath, like, okay, hold on, let me reset. On this topic, we have much to say, and it's difficult to explain, much like me and saying my metaphor about the video game thing. And it's difficult to explain since you have become sluggish in hearing. I'm reading, by the way, from the NET, which is my study Bible. So if it sounds unfamiliar to anybody, that's why. On this topic, we have much to say, and it is difficult to explain since you have become sluggish in hearing. For though you should in fact be teachers by this time, you need someone to teach you the beginning elements of God's utterances. You have gone back to needing milk, not solid food. For everyone who lives on milk is inexperienced in the message of righteousness because he is an infant. But solid food is for the mature, whose perceptions are trained by practice to discern both good and evil. And there's a lot here. But I can now look at my life and again, I say it all the time, not to boast, but like Paul, just to give y'all the context. I've been a Christian my entire life. I was born to pastors. I went to Christian school. I've told the story about how I don't actually really relate to the younger son, to the what's the word, the son who comes back. What's the Christian word for that? Let me check the chat. Somebody has gosh, that's weird that's missing from my vocabulary right now. Prodigal son. There it is.
Prodigal. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I've even shared over the years, like I actually, the prodigal son's a beautiful story, and it is a really awesome entry point for a lot of people to come back to God, to do the whole thing. But I actually don't really relate to the prodigal son because I didn't really have a period where I became an atheist or I ran from God and in a major sort of theatrical way like that. In fact, I relate much more to the elder son who never left the father's care. And then when the prodigal son comes back, the elder son is like, well, come on, I've been here the whole time, Dad. Why are you celebrating that guy? I'm here. I've been the good boy. I've never left. Anyways, so just in case anybody needs a refresher on my experience in life of being a Christian, but I can see, and this was part of the shift or the moment, the thing that God has been walking me through this past month is like, oh, I can see now. I really did just need the basics. Often, you just really need the basics. You just need Jesus, gospel. Came, died, lived a perfect life, died for my sins. Boom, that's it. I don't need to get all weird. I don't need to dive into Melchizedek. That's not for me right now. Just the basic gospel. And we see this play out in broadly in culture too. We see a lot of movement in the younger generations towards Christianity. And there's this question of like, they're going to the traditional ones where it's much more structured and less weird, less woo-woo. And, although, again, all those traditions, Catholic and Orthodox and they all have some centuries, millennia of deep, crazy stuff that they got going on. But the point being, that milk is essential. Oftentimes we talk about like, hey, milk versus solid food. In my experience, hearing the messages about like, hey, you need milk. And even in Paul's attitude here, it's like, hey, you're sluggish. You need just milk, okay? You're not ready for the meat. You need to be a little baby. You need to suck on the milk. And you're not ready for the meat, okay? I'm not going to get all carried away.
You need kids' church.
Yeah, you need to go back to Sunday school, right? And there's a little aspect of like, patronizing. It's kind of, it could be taken as an insult,
It's kind of
or
mocking them a little bit, I
putting
think.
somebody down, But I've recently looked back and been like, oh no, there have been times where it has been absolutely essential that I go back to milk because I was not ready for the meat. I would go off, especially in my business, all getting into all the fringy weird stuff. And I see this happening in culture with various people, that maybe they become Christian and they dive deep into like Genesis 6 right away. And like get into all the weird, all the mysteries, right? And I've run into some people and I've talked and witnessed to people and just part of my relational, I guess, discipleship with them. And we kind of see this in the topic of like Christian humanism we've been talking about recently.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't need the gospel, okay? The basic thing where Jesus came and died and forgave your sins and now you're saved. You don't really need that, right? Christian humanism is like, no, let's get into the deep philosophical reasons why Christian thought about humans can save society and get all weird. And you can really spin out into a lot of weird places. And sometimes God just brings us back to the milk. Hey, we're just going back. That's it. Life, death, resurrection of Christ. And in talking with people, they'll kind of be like, hey, I'm interested in Christianity. I'm interested in the story. I know the gospel. I hear the gospel. And yes, maybe I got saved or something. But like, actually, it's not so much about that simple basic stuff. It's not just about going to heaven, right? And it gets starts getting a little squirrely, a little weird in the new age. Like, actually, no, Jesus came here to tell us that we are also gods and that we can have like superpowers here on earth. This was a big thing in sort of the charismatic tradition that I was brought up in. This was, the line,
The word of faith stuff, you mean?
all that kind of stuff, which
Yeah.
blessed, I have my own defenses of all that, but admittedly for myself, spending a lot of time in there, that is a line you really walk up to a lot, and you got to be really careful
Yeah.
about going over. It's this real tightrope thing about word of faith and miracles and stuff, and self-aggrandizing pride, blah blah blah, all the stuff. And sometimes you just require the milk. You go back to the milk, baby. The simple thing. But once you got the milk, you're there. You're nourished. You are fully 100% committed to the gospel. And sorry, I left this one part out. And you often see this in Christian conversation about like, and this is kind of on the fringe, leaning towards the new age thing of like, well, does it really matter if the death and resurrection was literal, right? They talk about like, was it literal? Was it not literal? We can just think of it metaphorical because it just lets us into these deeper mysteries, right? I don't. It just starts getting weird, right? They take the gospel as like, okay, that's the story, but what's really going on here? It's like, no, you gotta chill right there, baby, on the gospel, on the basics, on the milk forever. And like Paul, getting frustrated, getting worked up here in Hebrews 5:11. On this topic, we have much to say, talking about Melchizedek, and it is difficult to explain since you have become sluggish in hearing. For though you should in fact be teachers by this time, you need someone to teach you the beginning elements of God's utterances. You have gone back to needing milk, not solid food. For everyone who lives on milk is inexperienced in the message of righteousness, because he's an infant. But the solid food is for the mature, whose perceptions are trained by practice to discern both good and evil. So that maturity point is very specifically stated by Paul here as when your perception has been trained by practice, meaning you look around and you see God at work presently. When you're lost in the country and you're missing your doctor's appointment and things aren't going right, not do you look back to the past week and see how God made things work out well, and that's wonderful, praise God. But in the moment when things have gone wrong, when your best striving and intention has fallen apart, and God is guiding your steps in a way that you were totally not expecting, it does not seem like it's the plan. But if you make a practice of seeing that and being present with it and seeing it around you all the time and even calling it out and praising God in the moment, it's the solid food is for the mature whose perceptions are trained by practice to discern both good and evil. So you see it, you know, taking form around you in the moment, and it comes by repeated continual practice. And then of course, after he says this, Paul lets it all loose and he just goes nuts, and he spends the next 3 chapters like just like talking about Melchizedek and all these crazy mysteries, and he's just like all over the place talking about how the temple is just the shadow of the reality, and the Jews have been, blah 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 blah. Is just this whole big thing. He goes off the rails again, but it's funny to see he kind of catches himself for a second. And then
Did you notice, Basil, like your attitude changing as you're seeing what God is doing, right? Because
Yeah.
it started a while ago when you were talking about God's sovereignty, right?
Yeah.
Like you were really, really into that. The idea that God is sovereign, that nothing's going to happen without his say so. He's got it. I might not understand, but he's got it. So there's this trust element. And then as you continue walking and you see God's goodness and how faithful he is throughout every situation, even when it's, hard, this brought me back to, as you were talking, his rod and his staff, they comfort me. And you
Yeah.
referenced it like the concealed weapons permit, right? Like I know the guy and I know the tool that he has, and
Yeah.
he's proficient with that tool. And
Yeah.
so your attitude changes. And so
Totally.
yeah, I totally get it. Like I don't know what's happening right now, but I'm still going to praise you, God, no matter what. I'm
Yeah.
literally singing Psalm 23 the whole time I'm driving yesterday. I don't care. He's
Yeah.
good. I'm going to be fine. I don't know what's going to happen next, but it's going to be fine. And you have this, it's unnatural. It's completely unnatural. The
Yeah.
other point that I totally forgot, and I'm sorry, and then I'll be done.
No, please
He
keep going.
says, he says in the Psalm, you prepare a table before me right in front of my enemies. And we all have pets that we love, right? And if you've ever had like your cat gets really scared and they run and they hide, they're not going to eat or drink until they feel completely safe.
Yeah.
There is no way that my cat is going to sit at her food bowl and eat during an earthquake. She's
Right.
hiding under the bed. If your animal is in danger, they're in fight or flight. And people are the same way. When we have something bad happens, right? Like it hurts our stomach, your
Yeah.
digestion literally stops, right? There's a physiological response that's happening. So the idea that you're going to sit down and the enemy, the evil that wants to come after you and harm you, you're going to have a meal and just like sit down and eat and
Right.
drink from a cup and you're not afraid. Like, how's
Such
that
a
work? I
Yeah.
that blew my mind.
Totally. It's
I cannot imagine being so if there's a robber in my house, I'm not gonna make a sandwich. Like,
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I'm I'm not do it's crazy.
Yeah.
But this is what God wants us to remember.
Yeah.
Hey, like, I'm good no matter what, and I've got you. You can relax. Don't
Yeah.
be anxious, don't be afraid, and it is so awesome when you just accept it. And
Yeah.
it's
And
I
it's like I said, it's just that weird little thing. Again, I could not give somebody a formula for for transitioning from knowing what we're talking about intellectually to feeling it actively presently.
yeah,
And that's kind of been the shift that I've had in the last month that I'm just
yeah,
still kind of blown away with and just
yeah.
wonderfully experience day to day. And I'm like, dang, this is very exciting. Just everything makes sense now. I want to share it with people. I'm kind of like, oh, I get it now. I've spent 30 something years thinking it's one way, but actually it's this other way. And I get really excited like Paul. And then I have to be like, okay, settle down. All right. You're not the first person to feel this. You're not the first person to come to this state. This is just how it is. You just gotta start from the beginning and do it. And you asked the question about my attitude changing,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's been kind of part of the mind blowing part about it, because I remember even on Clubhouse back when I started, at the going back 7 months now, at the beginning of this year. I go, actually, guys, I'm feeling actually pretty optimistic. I think everything's going to be fine. I know we're looking around and everything's super scary and bad and the beast system's on the way, but I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but I just feel compelled to just share it with whoever will listen. Uh, and I almost felt naive at the moment, at the time.
Mm.
But that was just like another step in getting me where I am now. It's just so hard to explain. It's just so but looking back, I'm like, "Oh, I see what God was doing this whole time." And sort of letting go of control, letting go of trying to intellectually, um, I guess, sort of intellectual control of how I perceive my life or whatever, perceive God at work in my life. It's been kind of a letting go of that, and it's just been just an incredible blessing. Yeah, goodness gracious.
It's awesome, Basil, and I love that you share it with all of us and we get to learn from you. And I think that you're probably convicting a lot of people. You convict me. And you're very funny, and I appreciate how funny you are. And your Home Depot song made me laugh out loud. That is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I will never hear a Home Depot commercial the same way. So it's very funny, and I appreciate you very much. So keep doing it, buddy.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to let you go. And I will say this, actually, because that's a perfect transition as something that's been on my heart lately. Of course, for Gonz and I, in the work that we are in, for doing it as long as we want, we're always complaining about what are we doing wrong based on the metrics of earthly success, right? And in this time that God has me in right now, the fact that I can even come on and press record with a janky, like stuttery, bad intro where I just like put up a thumbnail, take it down, put it up, like all the messiness of this, and the fact that anyone at all gets to hear me share this testimony is of infinite value, infinite wealth, infinite. I do not think I would be even who I am. I would not perceive the world in the way that I am now if it weren't for the fact that there is a, albeit relatively compared to the standards and measuring stick of the world, a relatively small group of people who bless me by tuning in and being in community with me. Now I think that's actually the way the whole world's going. I think everything's going to get much smaller like this, but I'll expound upon that some other time. But yeah, I'm just so absolutely floored and grateful for you, Monica, and for every Canarian just like you. It's
All
just
right.
incredible.
It's awesome. Okay.
Incredible. Okay,
Thanks for
I'll let
keeping me
you go.
comfy while I do the yard work and stuff.
All right. God bless you, Monica. I'll talk to you
Bye,
later. And
buddy.
everybody go check out Natural Liberty Podcast, where Monica is putting out good stuff. God bless, sister.
Bye, Basil. Thank you.
How's that for yapping? How's that for yapping? All right. Let's keep going. Got a couple callers chilling in here. We got Sir Darren out of the Hunger Banda. He's been in and out. He's been in the chat. He was driving home. He was doing stuff. He was cooking food. I don't know if the timing, timing's always the thing. I don't know if this timing works out for you, Sir Darren, but I'm going to bring you up on stage. We're going to find out if the timing is good. If not, we will figure it out. Here we go. Sir Darren out of the Hunger Panda. How are you, buddy?
Yo, Basil.
Yo, dog. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Oh, that was great. You did a great job.
Did I? Thank you.
Yeah. You always start a little slow and then you like get your steam going and it powers through.
Holy Spirit takes some time to get things warmed up around here, but yeah, thank you.
You got to get lubricated, got to prime the pump and get it
going. Got to stretch, got to get warmed up.
Yeah, it's like running. You start running, you're like, this is awful.
I hate this. Why am I doing this?
Oh my goodness. I have so many things to talk about. I'm trying to figure out what is the best thing to talk about. You need a tagline for this show. You can call it Canary Cry Clubhouse and the subtitle, so you can be all like like the old school preacher stuff where it's like, be blessed with Basil.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. I need some. It's look. we have our thoughts about marketing and advertising and things like that, but God can use all things. And if God is not the best sort of brand engineer, I don't know what else to think. He's the man. That would be it. For 1
Yeah.
second, real quick, Sir Darren, I don't want to derail us, but somebody on the Rumble radio sack um, came into the chat and says, "Hey, how come y'all attempted to have me deplatformed? Why did y'all's community coordinate mass reports on my Telegram account? I'm a very forgiving person, but I appreciate some accountability." They say a bad word there. They feel betrayed. I'm sorry, Radio Stack, that something happened to you. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry that happened. I I don't I don't that doesn't sound like our community. I think you might have us confused with some other community. Okay. We don't make a habit of trying to like mass report people or do anything weird like that. If we even had that kind of power, I don't know who we would wield it on, but I pray, I pray that that gets worked out for you, Radio Sack.
Yeah.
Sorry you're going through that, buddy.
Well,
Okay.
that's unfortunate. It would that you know what they need to be, Basil. You can have them on as an interview. See, we'll re-platform them.
Yeah, I will.
We can
Let me re-platform
re-platform them,
you.
right?
Yeah.
Like apparently they think we've deplatformed them. Radio Sack, you can call in to the show and be re-platformed immediately.
I will say this. You can re-platform yourself. I don't know if I want the responsibility. I don't know anything really about you. So I don't want to be I don't necessarily have a stamp of approval that I even could stamp on you. But you do, because it is a call-in show. This is how we do it. If you wanted, you could re-platform yourself and tell me what the problem is, and we can work
Yeah.
it out. I'm praying for you. Okay. Thank you, Sir Darren, for
Oh my
joining me
gosh.
in that
You
situation.
know what's funny is ironically, so you know how a few weeks ago you were talking about you went to go see the Master of the Universe movie?
Uh,
Do you remember that?
yeah.
And it's so funny. Like I've got all these little folders and files sometimes of like just little projects I'm working on or that never came to fruition. And there's like this little program file here that's like from 2023 and it's like it says Masters of the Universe.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that hilarious?
Is this
I always find that so funny.
just like a illustration you had started and not finished or
No,
something
it's like ideas. Like I always have ideas for like show content, so I'll like put them in a little folder.
for
And so
this show?
like, sometimes
For us, you
yeah,
mean?
for like
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
so
cool.
like
Oh, that's
so
fun.
like, I've got little folders like back in the day when let's say I did the one for like Burning Man. So I got like the Burning Man folder or
Right.
just so like I collect all the little ideas, like what would it look like? What stuff would it use? And then I thought it was funny. I like had a Masters of the Universe stuff and I was like, oh, I never finished that or did anything with it. But that's
Why did
pretty
it come
funny that
up?
it came back around.
How did it come up? Do you remember why you even did that? Did we mention He-Man or Masters of the
No,
Universe?
no.
It was just a thought
I
you
was
had?
just it's like popped in my brain of like, oh,
That's
that's
funny.
kind of cool.
That's
Oh,
funny.
it was like I don't know, something about the show. There see, this is really hard, but there's something in the show where I thought of the whole He-Man. He goes like, I have the power.
Mhm.
And I was relating it somehow to the show. I can't even remember. But
Dude, no, I mean, but what you're talking about is so great because, and this episode is a good example of, I think, a transition that's going on in the world, and therefore maybe a transition God is bringing us, and that is the lifestyle brand of Canary Cry. And God bless you, Sir Darren. I do want to make sure, for my sake, this is not for your sake, this is for me. I want to state publicly that this whole funny bit that I'm doing about making Canary Cry a lifestyle brand and not a podcast, you were so far ahead of this for so long. And it was me wandering in the wilderness while God had directed your hand, guided your hand toward this silly thing that we're doing now. Because yes, like you posted on X and stuff, you're doing cologne commercials, Basil and Guns CCNT cologne commercials, even the like energy drink commercials stuff. Now I know this is like your work, and so it's very well done. And we are so blessed, and it was always a wonderful thing to come in. But I'm sitting here now, much like what I was talking to Monica about a second ago. I'm sitting here now looking back and I'm like, oh my God, God has been doing this the whole time. God's, it's like James, James, servant of God, have been working day and night outside of my own understandings for his purposes. I find so much joy and pleasure in you being my friend, Sir Darren. And I just wanted to say that out loud. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's
And the
funny,
fact you
like,
make folders like He-Man when something comes to your mind about the show and you make a folder about it. That's very special too.
yeah, I have a whole bunch. It'd be kind of crazy to look at all the little folders I have. I have like folders and I have like little idea boards. I don't know. I hate to like say them because then it well see, so here's part of the thing is
God's
I think I
timing.
told
You know,
this. I told this
it's
to
time,
like
when
yeah,
the time is right, they'll become important.
but I told this I think to like Sir Ike. I was like, I have to be careful because this in some ways this is like this I do this for fun because
Uh-huh.
I have to do this otherwise for work
Yeah.
already. So it's like if I try to do it for work and for more work, it's like gets to be a little much
Yeah, yeah.
otherwise.
It can get things can get a little mixed up.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I don't mind doing it. I just it's like I'm trying to think how to say it. There's a point of like you and Gons like you do the podcast and that's sort of your like job and your work.
Uh-huh.
And so like you have to strive for it, you have to do it, you have to show up every day, and that's the thing you have to do because
Right.
it is just what you have to do. And if then someone were to say to you, oh, and by the way, can you come over here and do another podcast
Yeah.
for me,
Right.
but it's not fun, it's just more to do, you'd probably be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
When it's in the realm of drudgery, right? When it
Right.
becomes drudgery, when it, like the Israelites in Egypt, when we are making bricks every day and our whole life is making a brick, letting it dry, making a brick, letting it dry. What are we going to do tomorrow? We're going to make a brick. We're going to let it dry. What did we do last year? Well, we were making bricks and then we let them dry. We're going to make the brick. You're not going to go, hey, what should we do for fun this weekend? You want to make some bricks? Let's go make some bricks. Let's go make
Yeah.
some bricks and
Right.
build something. No. I
Yeah.
totally know what you're talking about. And
But yeah.
it's a constant struggle for people in weird positions like you and I.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as it's fun, then it's fun, and you don't mind it. But that even reminded me of like something I was gonna bring up to you guys too, and maybe this is something because you're talking about your sort of lifestyle brand as well. Of maybe just like I would almost prompt you to think about what was the most fun part of doing Canary Cry and CCMT in the beginning
Yeah.
because I've listened to like some older episodes and it's like there is a little bit of this like maybe it's almost like cockiness, like, we don't actually know what we're doing, but we're cocky enough to do it
Uh-huh.
kind
Uh-huh.
of feel vibe. but
Yeah.
like there's sort of a fun playfulness to that where you're not beholden to anybody yet. Like you're kind of just like, oh, we're just doing our thing. And
Yeah.
if we get like 5 people to listen, like who cares?
Totally.
That's 5 more than we had yesterday. And so
Absolutely.
I think that sometimes like when this stuff kind of gets bleeds into the realm of like you were saying today, like you kind of have to show up, like you have to show up, you kind of have, there is always some of that, but like almost refocusing to like, well, what was the thing that made me want to show up, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Right.
And and that's where, you know, sometimes it's like even asking the question of like, maybe asking God, like I feel like when you mentioned your, oh my gosh, so this was really funny. I'll just say this. You don't have to tell anybody, but I thought when you were going to go to your appointment for the doctor, I
Uh,
instantly thought, wait, did Basil have to get a colonoscopy? And he literally thought he was going to go to a birthday party after getting a colonoscopy. Like, bro, it does not work that way.
I just move through life with confidence, and if I don't know something, I'm gonna learn it.
But anyway, it made me think of like, there's sometimes where we can like do too much and like put this burden on ourselves. And then sometimes God has to maybe say, like, hey, you maybe shouldn't be doing all of this,
Yeah.
maybe just this. And I think it's where I had called in telling you earlier too about where I said, I'm really trying to think about like, where's my time and effort being put right now?
Uh-huh.
Because I think like you were saying about making bricks, like sometimes we maybe just do it because we felt like we have to do it or we need to do it, but maybe it's not really what God is wanting us to do
Right.
or
It doesn't
put our
feel
effort there.
it doesn't feel like we're not in that
Yeah.
presence. It doesn't feel like we're in the zone, sometimes. Like we're just forcing
Yeah.
something,
And like,
striving for something.
yeah. And like, even, because it's like once you, like you would talk about how you just have this thing with God right now where you're just feeling like his presence in your life. It's like that's what actually does give you the motivation and the want to do some of these things, I think.
Yeah.
And for other people, it's almost like even like the spiritual luxury idea where the world just they have to always find something different because nothing is satisfying enough
Right.
forever.
Yeah.
Like for a while it'll work, like for just a little while it's like, yeah, this will fill that hole and this will fill that gap, but then after a while it's just like, nah, it really doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
and and that's like, because that's literally the whole thing of like what branding and advertising is. If it's not like, if it's being genuine, it's saying, hey, do you need a lawnmower? We have lawnmowers. Great,
Yeah,
we'll mow your
right.
lawn. That's awesome.
Totally. Yeah.
But if it's trying to sell you, and like that's what lifestyle brand is, right? It's trying to sell you this idea that you can have, you can be like God, like
Yeah.
just like the garden, right? Like you
Yeah.
can have this thing you don't have. But
It's
then as
not
soon as you
you can
have it, you find
solve
out how empty it is.
there's like, there's one part of advertising which is like, hey, you have a problem. Here's the thing to fix your problem. Then there's another level, which is like, hey, you don't even know you have this problem, but you do. So you should buy this thing. And then there's like this next level, which is the lifestyle brand, which is like, no, 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 no. The life that you want, everything. It's not you don't even have any specific problems. It's just the vague idea of the life that you imagine that you want to live. That's what we're here to sell you. The life, that life, or whatever.
Yeah. And so I think that's why, like, for me, a lot of the stuff that I've done for you, it's sort of poking fun at that. Like,
Totally.
oh, Basil and Gons have a, luxury cologne. Like, you
Yeah.
need this. You want this. It must be in your life. It's
Yeah. Right.
it's kind of ridiculous. Like,
You want to get the girl? You need
Sure.
Canary Cry.
Yeah, like I mean, oh my God, like, and it just made me laugh because cologne commercials are always so esoteric anyway.
Totally. Yeah. Johnny Depp
But
like crucified on a cross or something on a beach. Like, what is this? It's like it's a cologne. Oh, weird. Okay. I guess that's cool.
I don't know what it is too. So this is where I'm a little weird too. So I'm in that world of advertising and everything and branding, and I know these people, like I know weird people, okay?
Yeah, totally.
Like they're not just weird because they're hippies, like weird because they're into all that stuff, and I
No,
know them.
especially because you're on the artistic side. Like, and it is the artistic side of that like there are people like living the world of symbolism. And that's what maybe
Yeah.
makes them good in the industry. But they are like living the lifestyle of, you know, sigils and symbolism and
Yeah,
stuff.
like I watched this whole documentary about modern art, and it had oh, what's her name? The witch. Uh
Marina Abramovich.
yeah, Rena Abramovich was in it, and they talked about her art and everything, and all this like contemporary modern art, abstract art and everything, and all these artists, and how it's just turned into this like churn and burn industry, like they're all feeling burned out.
Yeah, right.
And it's crazy. But man, like these commercials and stuff too, like this esoteric, like I just kind of laugh of it because I find it it's so goofy and strange, but I don't really get like triggered by it because I think
Uh-huh.
I've been in it enough long enough that it's like moved past me going, it's so satanic. I
Yeah,
can't.
you're
Yeah.
in the
I'm
world,
like,
but not of the world,
yeah.
right?
So I'm just kind of
It's not
laughing at
even
how,
that you're in that, you know, crowd. And it's not even that you're like, ooh, I'm gonna join them. No, no, no. I'm not of the world. I'm not gonna live like that. But
well,
it's even one step further, which is like even the revulsion and the attention enough to like it's not it's below me to even freak out about. Kind
yeah.
of, right?
I
That's
mean,
kind of how I feel with like Burning Man.
I had told you, I'm not saying this to like name drop or anything, but like I had a buddy who worked for a brand, a company, and their stuff like in 2020 they went from like, oh yeah, this is just a product, this is fun, this is anybody, it's family friendly, and it went to esoteric Hollywood galore. It was like, what? And I'm like, I know this guy, so I'm like talking to him a little bit, and then he even like I'm watching his stuff that he's posting on social media because he's really like promoting it. And oh my, I'm just like, bro, you went to a Christian college for
Yeah,
art, and you're like working for this company and doing this stuff that's just like so esoteric and so symbolic, and yet he doesn't have a clue. He doesn't have like any clue
right.
about half of what he's doing because I like ask him about it or whatever. And it was so interesting, but it was just
Well,
wow.
it's like the aesthetics thing too. And it's interesting. It has a really interesting connection to like lifestyle brands and branding and stuff like that. Like sometimes on just a marketing level too, it's just about the aesthetics of esotericism. Like, of course, an esotericist would say, these symbols have power. They reach into the depths of the psychology of somebody, and so we'll deploy them in a product. This might actually sound a little too esoteric to use another
Hmm.
word for somebody, but I think I hope you might know what I'm talking about. They'll deploy a symbol or something in a marketing campaign aesthetically, without even thinking or caring that there might actually be some sort of spiritual reality to it, right? But
Yeah, it's a little like playing with fire without caring about the outcome. They're sort of
Right.
just flippantly doing it. They know the power of it, but they
Or even they
don't
know that like
recognize fully the
Christians
power.
will make videos about it, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes like with the Balenciaga, this is just an example. I don't actually think this about the Balenciaga thing. I think there might be
Uh-huh.
weird stuff there. But like the Balenciaga thing a couple years back when they're like suddenly Balenciaga was putting out all these really weird, esoteric, kinky, gross, weird symbols and products, right? And
Mhm.
everybody was talking about it, and everybody made a Balenciaga exposed video, and we talked about it. It was like it was the whole thing. Part of me was sitting there going like, okay, I mean, I know the devil is at work. I know dark forces are in high places. I know all the true things, but how much of this is Balenciaga, some marketing person at Balenciaga, just deploying symbols and semiotics to like break the internet,
Well, I
basically?
think
Trick.
part of it is they're it could be that. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, I think part of it is their influence. Like it's like, they say bad company corrupts good morals. It's just
Yeah.
sort of a saying. And I think they're just influenced by it because even this guy I know who works with brand, he brought up one time to me, he's like, "Oh my gosh, did you see this symbol?" So they were going to use this symbol in our logo of one of these products we were working on. And I told him this is the child, FBI symbol that we can't,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
like that means XYZ. And I'm like, "Oh, that's so interesting." And he's like, "Yeah, I warned him that we shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh, it's interesting that, you told me that. And then later you're kind of like doing some other things though. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
it's the
did you
same
just,
guy. The same
yeah.
guy.
So it's
Yeah,
like, did he just recognize the influence and power of these things later on? Or is it just like, they have like a tolerance filter of like, well, these are bad, these are okay.
yeah.
It,
Yeah. It's
because
interesting.
I just think it's something about being like a lost person. Like you're double-minded that, like the Bible
Yeah.
says. You're double-minded and you sometimes can't even help yourself by being influenced to do things that the enemy wants you to do.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's sort of thoughtless. It's again, it's like you're just not really present. You're just moving in the direction of whatever's in front of you, kind of, and it
yeah, I
leads
mean
you to
like
this place.
a good example maybe just to relate it to something like an analogy is maybe like remote viewing. A
Uh-huh.
lot of people in that field, they don't even think it's anything. They just think it's a skill or it's
Yeah.
just something you can do.
Yeah.
But
Right.
like for a lot of Christians, they'd be like, "Whoa, you would never do that. Like that's a bad idea."
Right.
And then, it ranges from like the people in remote viewing who think, "Oh, it's tapping into the esoteric to or what the occult or whatever," to the people who think it's literally just, "Oh, we're just all connected by
Yeah.
some
Field of
unseen
conscious.
magnetic field, and therefore we can train our minds and bodies to do this, just like we would train our minds and bodies to run a marathon."
Right. Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's really weird. And it's interesting too, because of course, in this life, this state, we have so few ways of perceiving the world around us, and there's so much invisible and so much mystery that we cannot even comprehend. um and so there are times when you just kind of you have to come to the place of like, yeah, it's kind of whatever it is, it includes both of those things, right? It's like and you just have to take a position. And kind of like with the milk and meat thing I was talking about earlier, like for me, it's just like, no, you just have to, because we are in this fallen imperfect state, you have to take a position and stand firm in it. And in my case, I think the right position to stand firm to and to return to always is the gospel, even if it's the very simplest milk form, like baby nutrition version of the gospel, that is the solid point to return to. Because if you find yourself too far out in, you know, woo-woo land and you're digging into the symbols and the esoteric and the this and the that, and is it quantum physics and all this kind of stuff. If you're not tethered, if your tent pole is not firmly in the ground of just like, no, the very basic literal gospel of Jesus Christ, then you don't know where you're going to end up. You're going to be all over the place, which is something that I kind of worry about sometimes, with all, this kind of new generation of, especially young men finding Christianity, but primarily getting Christianity like on the internet and having it like
Mm-hmm.
pre-mixed with like, occult Hollywood or exposing the Nephilim, or like it's already got the weird stuff kind of in it. And I fear sometimes that if it doesn't have like that simple, basic, literal milk, if you don't return to that when you need to, you can really, things can fly off the handle. We might find some, people in weird places in a couple of years.
Yeah, no, that is such a great point, because I think I've mentioned that even before about this, like this whole conspiracy stuff. Like it's someone said, I think a while back, where they said back before the internet, conspiracy was like a fun thing, and then after the internet, it kind of
Yeah,
got to be more serious.
totally.
And
It became a
I,
national security threat.
yeah,
That
but
was how I felt. I was like, wow, this used to be fun. Not that I didn't believe it and didn't take it
yeah,
seriously, because I did take it seriously, but it used to be fun and exciting. And now I'm on a FBI watch list, apparently. This
uh-huh.
is weird.
Yeah, and so my thought was, again, like you said, with the gospel, it's like, what are we feeding ourselves? Because Paul's saying, I'd love to give you meat, but you can only have milk. But I even feel like sometimes we choose to feed ourselves just junk food.
Yeah.
So we find these things maybe super fascinating, and because they feed our flesh. Like that's what he's saying. Like you've been, but as people of the flesh, right?
Yeah.
So you're infants, like, because you've been feeding your flesh for so long, you're still an infant. You haven't strengthened your muscles enough to even feed on anything important. And yeah, it's so interesting where there is a bunch of these, people who will align themselves with the biblical truther conspiracy theorist, camp. But it is like, do you ever hear them bring it back to the gospel of
Right.
Jesus Christ at the
Right.
end of it? And
Yeah.
that's really like you and Gon's, like, I honestly think that's why you could never blow up, because
Yeah.
that's literally how you start the show, like biblically grounded,
Yeah.
like bringing it back to that. And it's like, oh man, see, that's the uphill battle.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and that's the thing, and that's, of course, that's how it is. Like, of course, this fallen world, the prince of the air and the principalities and the powers and the dark governments of the world, like, we live in this world. Of course, if you make a point to keep coming back to that, that's the system is not for that. The system is not for us. Like, we need to just let go of that. And to bring it around full circle a little bit here, that's kind of where I feel God is finally bringing me to the presence and knowledge of. It's like, oh, okay, I need to just let go of all of that idea. And the lifestyle brand thing is funny. More than anything, it's a funny bit and it's a joke and I enjoy it and it delights me. On the other hand, your first question of like, is it fun? Like, how do we keep the thing, right? And this episode is a great example of that, because I'm having a blast. taking the time, not setting a timer, just connecting, you know, with my friends here online, you, Monica, everybody listening, like this is kind of an example of like, this is the lifestyle brand, right? It's the almost like an anti-lifestyle brand, but we don't need to get too into it. But like the lifestyle I want is to have even a small group of people where we can talk about this sort of thing at depth and go all over the place and understand one another, because now we've have a long history with one another. I mean, how rare is that? I would not trade that for $1,000,000, knowing what I know about where we're going, where we are, what what I know the future holds for humanity, what I see coming down the pike. Like, this is really a treasure. And I told this story before of I met basically the number one most famous podcaster in Australia. I don't give too many details just because some privacy concerns, but extraordinarily famous person, done really, really well, and did it really, really fast. Did it in like a couple years, and did it in the new way, which is not podcasting for 10 years and 15 years and building a community, but catching the algorithm, boom, nailing it, right? Super big, super quick social media kind of person, making money, right? And I got to spend a few days with this person in a place that I was staying, just kind of in a third space. We weren't, together on purpose, but we were in the same area for a while, and we got to be kind of friends. And he's having all this success and is like figuring it out. And I'm like, "Whoa, good for you. Good for you. I'm so happy for you." Yeah, I've been podcasting for, 10, 15 years, and it's great. Pays the bills, having a good time, have a lot of, you know, I have a lot of really, really strong community. And this guy who is a showman. He's a showman, and very energetic, very charismatic. And as I'm describing my podcasts and my career and my experience with doing what I'm doing, he just like melts in front of me. I see his face, his countenance, his body language, everything. It's like something just melted off of him. And he goes, "Wow, man, I wish I had that." And I'm like, "Dude, this guy's making money, dude. He's everywhere. He's like talking to just the most famous people in the world. He's got everything. He's like the picture of a successful podcaster." And I'm telling him about us. And he's like, "Oh man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could figure that out. Man, that would change everything for me." I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, what a wake up call God gave me with that." With that.
Yeah.
And that was a couple of years ago, and I'm still processing that. And so that's kind of like, again, with this whole thing past month or so, what God's got me doing. It's also the lifestyle brand joke, it's also the what's what's the fun part? How do you make it not drudgery? It's everything is like that. And bring it all back to just like experiencing the present orchestration of God in this moment. I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, dude." I could see, I tremble at the fact that I could see a timeline of my life where I never feel this, where I never came to this realization. And I tremble with fear how easy it could have been for me to miss that fact. And so this is very special. And I hope everybody else gets it too. I don't know how to
Yeah.
do it, but
That's okay. It's everyone personally.
Yeah.
Um, I, and like, I think too, one of the things, like, I'll do my weekly devotions with this group. And one of the things the leader talks about is he talks about coming to Jesus in a spirit of playing, like, because we're children, like we're his children. And so we come to him in a spirit of just playing with him, like just
Yeah. Totally.
not so, oh, it has to be like this, or we have to have
Yeah.
profound things to say. Like we're kind of doing this, and and it's so funny when people initially come, they kind of are reserved. They don't know really what to say. They don't know really what to do. Sometimes they feel super awkward even about
Yeah.
it. But you
Totally.
can tell, like, after a while, the people who've gone through it, you almost just learn, like, oh, let's just throw something against the wall and to put it out there because that's what sparks everything. And then it goes and on and on and on. And by the end, you're like, man, I wish we didn't have to quit right now because this is pretty cool and pretty fun.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I think, like, with you and Gons, one thing I'd also encourage too is the idea, like, just go to God and say, God, we would like to maybe try this,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just say, we're just going to go do it. Because, what he says is we need to realize that God isn't going to put us in such a box and say, no, I am going to make you, this is your life path, and this is where I've dictated you to go. He has more capability to do with you what he needs to do. Like you were talking about the gift, the present that you picked up.
Yeah.
He knew that. He already had that arranged. He
Yeah.
knew what you needed, when you needed it, and how you needed it. But you didn't know. And you can either operate in the spirit of, oh my gosh, I just blew my doctor's appointment. This is the worst thing ever. I'm just going to be upset about this.
Uh,
Or you can operate in, like, hey, this just happened. This is life, but let me watch how God operates through this moment. And you
yeah.
got to experience an amazing moment, really, with God.
Yeah.
And
Right.
people will never know that experience outside of allowing that to happen.
Yeah. Amen. I mean, that's it, man. That's so good. Yeah. That concept of play. Like it really is that light. It really is that, not that there's no consequences or that there's not, there's nothing to take serious or something like that. But it
Hmm.
really is like, you know, we were he created us to walk with us in the garden and just kind of be together with him. And
Yeah.
it's got that sort of lightness and that, um, yeah, it's
Well,
just that whole thing.
something too that came to my mind
Burden is
is,
light, rather. Sorry.
yeah, my dad, because I'm actually like a third generation artist almost, because my grandfather was an art teacher and my father was a designer as well,
Cool.
and did design for his whole career. And
Ooh,
he told me
nice.
that one of the biggest things that most designers don't do, they don't sit there and play. They sit there and they try to figure it out and they pound their head against the keyboard and they
Uh,
never
uh,
play. And every time, there's so many times where I'll get in that same mode where this done for the client, or I have to get this done for work, and I'm just racking my brain and I'm not solving the problem, and I hate this, and I hate my job, and why did I make this career choice? I hate this. And it's like it comes back to me in my mind where he says, just play. And I
yeah,
say, you know what? For the next 15 minutes or 30 minutes, I'm just going to play. I'm going to be a kid with crayons and I'm going to play. I'm going to have fun and I'm going to do whatever. And you do these, like, experiments and these random, and then you suddenly get it and you're like, what? And then
yeah.
all of a sudden, as soon as you have it, you're just like, the supernatural energy comes to you and you're like, okay, now I just knocked out all of
There it
this.
is. Yeah,
And
right.
that's what it comes from, man. You just you my other guy that we do the Bible study with, he says he likes jazz. He loves jazz. And he's like, jazz is not sitting there trying to rehearse the notes, trying to figure out the note, the pattern. You just jump in. You jump in
Yeah,
with everyone else and you start playing. And pretty soon you realize, man, we're having a lot of fun playing music.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's so good, man. That's so good. And as you're telling me this, that that is th- that's the fun I feel when when any producer like makes some art for the show, but especially all the stuff you've made for us over the years. It's always just this really fun moment of play because we obviously don't take we do not have a brand guide. We do not hold fast to many rules, obviously. I mean, this is the fun thing. And I have a little bit of background in like branding and marketing, and
Hmm.
people in my life, work in brand. So I'm like aware of, what it really means to have a brand and to do the thing and have everything be the way it's supposed to be and communicate the message, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just so tickled by Canary Cry and just the absolute jungle gym that is like the brand of all.
Yeah.
It's just so fun. And in that, of course, we have so many different hands and voices and everything got a hand in that. But going back to, yeah, art that you've done for us forever. You've done many of these like funny fake ads that we used to play at the beginning of the show. We used to roll pre-stream and stuff like that. But that's exactly it. Like that's exactly, and I think that's the only reason that Gans and I have been able to actually keep doing this in the, with what's the word? In the situation that we're in, I guess. Like, the money isn't the main factor. The all of the measurements of the world, where the continuance of our community of what we're doing here makes no earthly sense whatsoever. Even from the numbers to the this to the that to everything makes zero sense. Um, but it's amazing. It's a miracle of God keeping it together. But a part of that is because we can just like, it's fun. We're having fun with it, okay? We're not getting locked in a brand guide. We're getting everybody gets to get a hand on the ball. We're not taking ourselves too seriously. We're not, it's good to have goals and stuff. And, we beat ourselves up sometimes for maybe not having a goal or not reaching a goal or something like that.
Hmm.
But God has really almost like a weighted blanket, like forced us to just insist to try to keep it as fun as possible. Because if it
Yeah.
wasn't fun, there's no earthly metric by which we should keep doing this and that this community should be able to stick together. There is no logical reason why any of this thing happens, except for God is in it and God is making it fun. And so, anybody listening, I mean, this is a epic conversation. This whole episode is epic and a real deep cut for some like serious Canarians out there. Nobody's gonna stumble upon this episode and like get anything from this from the first time. But like I truly believe and I feel, and even, of course, we love the Canarians like you, Sir Darren, like Monica, like everybody who appear on the show, who call in, who make stuff, who are around, who are vocal. But there's also a large group of Canarians who are in the same position, have been with us just as long and interact with us just as often and are here and are present with us now who don't do that, who don't call in, who don't send emails, who don't do that. And my hope is that those people, whoever you are out there, that like just God blesses you and gives you. I'm not even gonna ask you to like get involved. if you feel like you should, please do. But just the fact that you're out there and you've been with us and you're with us and you're raising your family, you've had children and the whole thing. Even if you're not sending in art or producing or this or that, there's a big group, and God bless those people. I guess maybe I'm just saying that for myself too, to to recognize that part of the community, because I'm always enthusiastic, of course, to lift up and honor producers like yourself, Sir Darren, who deserve
Well,
it. Are a huge part
thank
of
you
it.
for saying that.
But
I
also
think too, I want to say that the real producers of this show too are the people who pray for this show.
yeah,
They're the ones that, guys, like, you got to realize I make art for the show because it's easy. That's what I know. That's what I do. It's just for fun. It's funsies, it's something for kicks on the side. Yeah, I like the show too, and it helps the show, but it's not like it's not a burden or a commitment. But for the people who think that, oh, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that, you got to realize that God has put people like myself and others who have done things for the show because you are in the background
yeah,
listening to the Lord and being moved by him.
yeah,
Like, it's like the widow's mite. Okay, that lady gave everything she had, and it was almost nothing in the sight of everyone else,
hmm
but that's all that mattered. And I think that I sometimes I worried, like, man, I do a lot of this art for the show, and I hope nobody ever feels like, oh, I can't do art for the show because I'm not that good. Bro, you can send in anything you want for the show. And you heard it here from Basil today,
yeah,
that's what brings him joy, is to
yeah,
see your stuff. So you send in those scribbles, you send in that refrigerator art. Go
yeah,
for it, man.
yeah.
Do
Amen.
not think that you are less than or something. You're not. You're part of this community. And even if this is the first time you've ever heard this show and you're like, who are these people rambling? You can be part of this community. Even that guy who said, oh, you've deplatformed me. Well, you can be part of this community too. Go ahead.
Yeah,
We
call in,
will
platform
call
yourself.
in, get a voice, get replatformed,
Invitation to platform yourself.
produce the show at $7.77, and they will read the note on the show.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah, man. No, it's very special. Yeah. Goodness gracious. I can't believe I had any doubts about today's
Yeah.
episode. This is
It's kind
wonderful.
of funny because I was going to talk about Bigfoot, but never mind.
I mean, there's always time. There's always next time. There's always stuff to talk about Bigfoot. Sir Darren, God bless you, man. You've been such a great friend to me and Gons over the years, and it's always great talking to you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
And it's up and down, and we all have our things in our lives. Like, right now you're in the season of optimism, which is great, but I'm sure there will be trials in life that will
Yeah.
challenge that. And
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. I know. And we just the key is to remember, trust me. I mean, that's the funny thing. Usually in a moment like this, when I'm like feeling good, and I think everybody can knows what I'm talking about. When things are good, things are going well, but there's that little voice in your head like, oh boy. Oh, when's the other shoe gonna drop? Something bad's gonna happen now. The scale's gotta be balanced. That's, of course, not fun, but it protects us. It prepares us to endure what happens next. And it's not that I don't have that right now, but but it's just much more playful. It's less heavy. And so again, I pray that over everybody. Pray it over you, Sir Darren, and everybody listening. God bless you, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Listen, you too.
I'll talk to you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Amen. Yeah, that's good. All right. Goodness gracious. Look at us go. Look at us go. Okay. We got one more caller. We're going to check in with a wonderful Canarian calling from across the pond. Haven't spoken to her in a bit of time. So we're going to see what's up. We got Big Sis. Let me bring you up on stage here. How are you? How are you?
Hello. I'm fine. It's in
Hello.
the middle of the night. 2
Yeah.
o'clock.
I have a notoriously bad memory, but you're in Europe, obviously. But is
Bavaria.
Bavaria? Okay, I was going to say
Yes.
Germany, Bavaria, much more specific. But I
Yes.
was close. I was close though. That's good. What's on your mind today? What's going on?
I thought I'm calling because last week this was wonderful, your Bible study, and maybe we could talk about it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's, I mean, the time is,
It just
don't
keeps
know.
getting later. I'm like, I know, and God bless you. That's wonderful. Well, whatever feels right, whatever feels right. I know that's so interesting. Thank you for saying what you said, because I have also been so excited about the past couple episodes and like the Bible study aspect of it. Obviously, y'all can hear my enthusiasm about my diving into the Bible in this time in this way. But yeah, it's so funny. I do consider it a funny joke, a friendly funny joke by the Holy Spirit, that I had these couple weeks of just like mind blowing, so fun, so experiential episodes doing Bible study on the internet, and then I tell everybody to come check it out, and then here we are. I'm like, oh, I don't actually have anything for today. But that's the fun. That's the fun. You get to be here with me, with this. We're doing this together.
Yes. So maybe we can do it now if you have time. I don't know.
Oh, I got time. Yeah. I mean, we are coming up on 3 hours, but that's fine.
So everybody who does not want Bible study is gone now, and we can do the good stuff.
Let's do a Bible study. Let's do a Bible study. What does my thing say here? Oh, 247. Look, if we go to 3 hours or 310, that's gonna be fine. I'll survive. So if you got something, walk us through it. Take me away, big sis.
I love the word pursue in the last verse also. I don't know. I don't have your translation, but it's wonderful because it's Jesus who pursues us, and it's very different to what I was told my whole life. Because it's not our work. He loves us, and we need to open ourselves and allow him to love us.
Yeah, I thank you for bringing this up. And just in case anybody's made it this far, which I cannot imagine without having the background of this whole thing, let me do this. I'll bring it up on stage because you're bringing up the word pursue in relation to my study Bible, the New English Translation. Share this tab. Here we go. And I brought us lovingly bouncing down the roller coaster last week of Psalm 23. I'm going to read it all the way through, and then I'm going to read the note on the word pursue, because I think I read it back then, but I love it. I want to focus on it here. And this is why I'm really excited about this translation in my current study Bible. Okay, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He takes me to lush pastures. He leads me to refreshing water. He restores my strength. He leads me down the right paths for the sake of his reputation. Even when I must walk through the darkest valley, I fear no danger, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff reassure me. You prepare a feast before me in the plain sight of my enemies. You refresh my head with oil. My cup is completely full. Surely, your goodness and faithfulness will pursue me all my days, and I will live in the Lord's house for the rest of my life. Beautiful, wonderful. I'm going to
Beautiful. Yes.
duplicate this tab, and for my own sake, I'm going to open this up in NIV, and then I want to look at the NET study on pursue. Oops, I made a funky size. Here we go. Okay. Surely your goodness and faithfulness will pursue. Let me start with the goodness and faithfulness because it kind of leads in to the pursue thing. So surely your goodness and faithfulness will pursue me all of my days. And the study footnote on goodness and faithfulness gives the original word here, the noun. And excuse me for all the Bible study people, I am not very well educated in original languages. So trying to say the original words is not fruitful or profitable for me to do. So I will just say it gives the original word. And it says, has been the subject of several monographs. And in these study notes, there's lots of references not only to other books of the Bible where you can like chase down this rabbit hole of study, but it also it also will like fling you off into other study Bibles or other books written about the word or other things. So there's like some references to other theologians and stuff. We're not going to dig through them all right now, but I'll just read them just for people listening. There you go. That's what you're going to hear. It says the original word has been the subject of several monographs. G.R. Clark concludes that the original word is not merely an attitude or an emotion. Talking about goodness, the word goodness is not merely an attitude or an emotion. It is an emotion that leads to an activity beneficial to the recipient. He explains that an act of goodness or faithfulness, a beneficent action is performed, meaning a good and giving action, in the context of a deep and enduring commitment between two persons or parties by one who is able to render assistance to the needy party who in the circumstance is unable to help him or herself. So there's this picture of us being totally helpless. Like we are, not that we have to be, that our present state is that we are totally helpless and dependent on the goodness and the faithfulness of God. And yet, this goodness and faithfulness is pursuing us, is chasing us. We're not having to earn it. We're not having to request it. It's this constant state of us being in need and this enthusiastic commitment to help and sustain, etc., etc. And then, so that was the study note for goodness and faithfulness. And then we get to pursue. And it says the use of pursue, chase, original language, with the original language for goodness and faithfulness. So combining this word pursue, chase with goodness and faithfulness, as goodness and faithfulness as subject. So meaning that goodness and faithfulness, these sort of ambiguous or sort of abstract concepts of goodness and faithfulness. It's not a dog pursues or a man pursues. It's goodness and faithfulness pursues. So they have made goodness and faithfulness the subject, and then pairing it with pursue or chase, the note says, is ironic. So there's an ironic sort of poetic thing going on here. And this gets in, languages and translation is this very weird, kind of deep, kind of weird. It's almost like I understand it almost as much as I understand like chemistry, right? There's like so many layers to it. Which is maybe why I'm so enthusiastic to dig through it like this. But anyways, I like it that it says like they're using the writer of Psalm 23 is using pursue or chase and applying that not to a dog or a person or a wolf, but to goodness and faithfulness as subject.
So this is a negative word. Pursue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's ironic. So you have good and faithful, which are positive, but pursue is kind of this like predatory thing. So that's what makes it ironic. This is the only place in the entire Old Testament either of these nouns appears as subject of this verb, meaning goodness, faithfulness, the nouns, pursue, the verb. This verb is often used to describe the hostile actions of enemies. One might expect the psalmist's enemies to chase him, but ironically, God's goodness and faithfulness are personified and stand by metonymy for God himself. Now, I did have to look up this word metonymy. Maybe if somebody is smarter than me, they might already know, but let me give you the definition here. So metonymy is a figure of speech in which one word or phrase is substituted for another, with which it is closely associated, as in the use of Washington for the United States government, or of the sword, or of military power. So when you call something by one of its characteristics, that's a metonymy. So like, yes, if you say, Washington went to war today, it's not actually George Washington or even Washington, D.C. You're talking about the government.
Yes.
The government of the United States went to war. So there we go. We all learned a new word there, metonymy. This verb is often used to describe the hostile actions of enemies. One might expect the psalmist's enemies to chase him, but ironically, God's goodness and faithfulness are personified and stand by metonymy for God himself.
Imagine Jesus hunting you down.
Yeah, exactly. He's coming for you. He's
yes.
and there's an intensity to that too, right? To be pursued. It's not just, like I said last week, it's not just followed. It's not like a leisurely, I'm going to see where this little sheep is going. It's like, I'm going to get you. I'm coming for you. I need you for some reason. So it's this beautiful sort of implication here. The word pursue is used outside of its normal context in an ironic manner and creates a unique but pleasant word picture of God's favor or a kind God chasing down the one whom he loves. So it's kind of playful, right?
Yes.
It's like you can almost see like a father kind of and a toddler being like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you! Here I come! I'm chasing you! I'm gonna come get you!" And there's that like parent commitment. Obviously, the father is committed to the good of the child, not only keeping him alive, but for all of his best interests, and to pursue this kind of. Oh, sorry. Let me switch to this tab. To pursue the sort of chasing language, the sort of predatory language is very playful. So God is like, it's fun. The whole thing is fun. right? This is what I'm talking about. This is like what the whole episode's been about. It's just like fun to be present, going around your day, and things are happening. Things are outside of your control. You think you're doing good. Something crazy happens. The whole day is ruined, you think, by your own standards. But instead of being like, oh, nuts, I did a bad job today. No, God is playing with you. His goodness and faithfulness is chasing you around for your own benefit. And as is stated earlier in Psalm 23, for his reputation. So in my example, my doctor's appointment, oh no, I missed it. That's bad. I did a bad job. Oh, I guess I can get the present now. Boom, this present is just this beautiful like gift to everyone, and our entire lives are made better because of this moment that this present brought to the birthday party. That's like the playfulness of God, pretending to be like, oh no, something bad is happening. Oh no, somebody's coming to get you. And then it turns out to be this beautiful, wonderful, playful thing. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like walking through the valley. It's not you're walking alone through the dark valley, but he has you he has you tight, and you can look, and it's warm and it's cozy, and you can look outside and you can see all the dangers, but you're safe. So
Yeah. Amen. And these moments, I mean, excuse me if I'm repeating myself, but like Paul said in Hebrews, it takes repeated practice of perception to reach maturity here. So this is me perceiving again and again out loud for everybody. But just that when something like that goes wrong or is just drudgery, right? It doesn't even have to be a big emergency. Something doesn't have to go necessarily wrong. It could just be the drudgery of doing the dishes, right? While I am there in the daily drudgery thinking, why do I have to do this every day? Oh my gosh, I hate doing this. I gotta wash another dish. Can't I just throw it away? Can't I just buy new dishes? Why am I doing this? Even in that moment, not just in the whoops, I missed my doctor appointment moment, bad thing, acute instance, but in the chronic drudgery of life, there it is also present. If we are present with God in the moment, it is also presently happening that he is playfully chasing us.
yes.
And even that drudgery dishwashing moment has this spirit of loving play with the Father. And we can know, and this is like the essence of, I think, faith, or at least the new exciting definition of faith for me. Being present in that moment and knowing while I'm doing the drudgery of life, washing the dishes, and I don't like it, God is playfully pursuing me and for my own benefit, like something actual literal will come out of that drudgery that is a delightful surprise, right? It's like around every new corner in life, around every new annoying drudgery thing that happens, there is a delightful little surprise, like the cackling laugh of a toddler, right? That gets caught by their father and lifted up, and he like blah, 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 eats their belly, right? And that you get that baby cackling. And if we are able to, like Paul says, be persistent in our training, our perception of the moment, making us mature, we have access to just like this cackling toddler amount of joy at even the most boring, annoying things in life.
That's right.
Or I'm losing my mind. Sometimes I think maybe I have a brain tumor. This is possible. If I have like a brain tumor that is making me feel this way and think these things, it is going to be an exciting ending to everyone who has followed along with this show and these. Can you imagine that? Somebody could make a documentary about like, oh, this podcaster, crazy conspiracy theorist podcaster is doing it forever and had, a really small, beautiful community come around him. And one day he had a weird experience on the plane that he said was the Holy Spirit. And then he had all these crazy ideas about God chasing him around like a loving father and making him cackle like a baby. And the documentary ends with, and actually he had a brain tumor and he died.
No, Jesus is loving and Jesus is so tender and he's so funny, and the world does not know him. That's fact.
I know. And it's just these little things. Again, that's what makes the milk part of it fun, right? We all want to think that we're mature and we're ready for meat and we can dig into like the deep mysteries. And that's good. It's the pleasure of God to hide the mysteries. It's the pleasure of kings to seek out the mysteries. That's also a big part of us. That's a big part of a gift that we get to do. God hides these things for us to seek out the deep, trippy, weird stuff. Love it. His cosmos is amazing. But also, at the same time, at any moment of any day, we can experience the cackling laughter of a toddler being picked up and tickled by a loving father. And that part of it, the milk part of it, returning to this simplicity of the gospel and the truth of our relationship with God, like just because it's immature doesn't mean we shouldn't do that every day. Like I kind of feel that way. Like talking about it, like being all enthusiastic and stuff, talking about all this fun stuff. Like I kind of feel like a child again. There's like a giddiness to it. And part of me is like, look, I spent years and years and decades seeking out the deep mysteries, on the show with the people, all fun, very good, talking to smart people. And it is such a delight to just go back to the milk and just be in this like infantile state of the simplest relationship that we have with our Father. And I think we can do both. We can do both all the time.
And I think Jesus prefers our presence. So do people know that God has feelings too? He wants friends, and he wants not servants, he wants friends, and he wants to have fun. And people don't see this in him, but he is funny and he is so loving and kind.
Yeah. And some people don't want that too. Let me be clear with that too. He pursues us all in the ways that we need to be pursued. And there's going to be a lot of people out there who hear me talking about getting chased around and tickled by God and they're going to be like, okay, this guy isn't serious. He's got the googly eyes. This is not what I want from God, right? And that's okay. He's gonna he's gonna get you in the way that you need to get gotten. All right. So there's my disclaimer. You don't have to do all of this.
But we love this.
Yeah, if this isn't for you, that's okay. And I'm excited for God to pursue his goodness and faithfulness to pursue you in the way that is meaningful to you. And he knows that too. And he's going to do that because that's what he wants to do. That's his nature. And yeah, if you want to wear a sort of black robe and grow a long beard and be very serious and go into a cave and encounter the Father there and like a with Gregorian chants and like a and have like a bright light and do the whole thing. God bless.
Monk mode.
That's cool. I also want to do that, by the way. I wouldn't mind that. I'd be down to do like some serious old school encountering God in a cave. That sounds fun. But yeah. So anyway, what a delight. Was there anything else that jumped out at you here?
I didn't plan to call in, but so
Yeah,
the Lord led me.
You nailed it. You did the right thing. Obedience. That's all it takes. What a lovely time. Big sis.
Thank you so much.
It's been really great. It's great to hear from you again. Great to see your face again. And yeah, call in whenever you want. Call and say hi.
Thank you. I will.
You betcha. All right. God bless you, big sis.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, I still have this on the screen. Sorry, everybody's just been staring at a incomplete piece of text on Bible Gateway. I'll just read it just for fun. Just that'll help me transition and take it down off the screen. Psalm 23, the New English Translation. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He takes me to lush pastures. He leads me to refreshing water. He restores my strength. He leads me down the right paths for the sake of his reputation. Even when I must walk through the darkest valley, I fear no danger, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff reassure me. You prepare a feast before me in the plain sight of my enemies. You refresh my head with oil. My cup is completely full. Surely your goodness and faithfulness will pursue me all my days, and I will live in the Lord's house for the rest of my life. Amen. Good stuff. Doesn't get any better than that. And look at that. We're just slightly over 3 hours. That's a doozy. And if you've made it this far, dear listener, if you've made it this far, God bless you. I don't know who this is for, but if you're here, this is for you. That's that. And with that, we're going to land the plane. Going to play a little Feeding the Ducks. Feeding the Ducks. Let me click this. Here we go. Boom. Beautiful. Big shout out to everybody who called in today. Sir David G. Sir Darren out of Under Panda. Big sis. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who was in the chat. And of course, a big shout out to all the podcast listeners. And just a reminder, of course, it is value for value. I don't know how we keep getting to do this, but we do. It's only through the value model, which means we don't get any money, no support, no nothing from any of the platforms, any corporations, no nothing. We only exist because people just like you, real humans, get value. If you got any value from this, just consider the really value. And produce the show. Make something for the show. But value, whatever form of value. Not as much yet. Put it back in. It's the only way we can do it. Can't do it anywhere else. Time, talent, treasure. Support the show over at canarycry.support. Shout out to Monica, of course, one of our other callers. I can't believe I forgot Monica. Monica from the Natural Liberty podcast. She supported this show for $7.77 with a little note that says, "Have a great show, Basil." Thank you. And with that, the timing of Feeding the Ducks ending wasn't perfect, but I will start it again so that I can say goodbye and we can fade out on the music. All right, everybody. We're going to be back on Monday. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We're going to have a Canary Cry radio episode with Carl Tykrib coming out tomorrow. An awesome one. One I am very passionate about. So hopefully that gets out. If not, keep an eye out for it over the weekend. We'll be back with more Canary Cry News Talk on Monday. But until then, you know what to do. Think outside the cage.